Coming up right now, it's going to be Anotand and LucifroN, and we know we're going to be on Dry Arabia to start. We'll hopefully see the rest of the maps and everything fill in as we go. But we're still here on the road to Red Bull Wololo. That's Whammon over there. I'm Soccerton, and we got another series on our hands. I'm excited.
Now, Anotand and LucifroN starting on a age-old map like Dry Arabia. Luckily, a French snipe coming on in, so no more French on Dry Arabia, but rather the Malians, which is quite peculiar here, because a lot of people have been saying Malians is a permaban, an instant permaban. But LucifroN, he's a little bit of a different guy. You do not give LucifroN French. If you give LucifroN French, you are most likely going to be very cooked. And Anotand respects that, because LucifroN on any night civilization will raid you into a different dimension. So guys, let's go see how Dry Arabia looks with that Chinese and Malians pick for these two guys, and see who's going to take that first game on their journey to qualifying for Red Bull Wololo. Unless it's not ready, then I just let us in to nothing. Never mind.
You did such a good job. You did such a good job too, Whammon. It was so nice.
I'm so proud of myself. Oh my goodness. It is what it is. Now, it does look like, I want to take a second here to look at the spawns and just be like, hey, what can we expect? So Anotand here with his forward gold. That's not great when you're up against the Malians. Doesn't feel too good. The wood line there at the back, though, it does pose for a little bit of an easy wall so your eco doesn't get raided, and double gold on the same side. Ooh, that does feel pretty tough. But there is a sneaky one back there that you could wall off, but that one takes a little bit of investment here. Especially with Malians being such an aggressive civilization, it does feel a little bit wonky to be up against. But now, LucifroN, he is the Malians. He's the one that we need to worry about the golds with. And he, honestly, he's in a pretty good spot, Soccerton. If I was a Malian player, I would be pretty happy with how my base is laid out. Backwards gold into another backwards gold in a different direction feels pretty good.
Yeah, the only concern is you don't always love having your wood up front if you get someone who's really, really aggressive, but it's close enough to the TC. I'm not too terribly concerned. I feel like this is actually a pretty ideal setup here for a Malian player. So this is going to be good. Of course, he's already got that first gold bit mine started on that one, but yeah, looking really nice here for LucifroN.
Now, with this normal opening, I would say normal opening, but guys, notice, normal Malian opening is usually 6 houses. Now, he went for the extra chop, and he got that 7th house as well. This is going to mean that he gets that little bit of extra gold before he ages up. And usually we see some cows coming out of this. Now, there's a few pros who decide, okay, we're going to go for upgrades instead, or we're going to go for cows instead. But we'll see what LucifroN is going to decide to do. But Vortex being his brother, we know that Vortex was the original guide maker of the 3 cow opening. So I'm hoping to see some cows in the early stages of this game. Now, Anotand, he's ready to click up, and we're going to be seeing our usual Imperial Academy in a pretty safe spot here. And he already knows exactly how many houses Mr. LucifroN had invested in, because he was scouting at exactly the right time.
Yeah, there's definitely been a trend. There's definitely been a trend I've noticed. Originally, back in the day, it was 4 houses was a standard. Now it's 6, and now we're seeing 7. It's not uncommon to see 7 houses. We're seeing that more and more players with Malians can get just a little greedier early on, especially against a civ like Chinese. You're not expecting Dark Age pressure. I think you can get away with that and not really sweat it at all.
Now, getting the normal age up timings here between the two, that's standard. I don't expect anything crazy out of them in the early game. We've been seeing a lot of pressure from Malians with the pro scouts. That's the big question mark that usually comes out here. But when you're up against the Malians, it doesn't feel like as easy of a feat for most people. Anotand still has 2 villages on gold, and usually you do this because you want that extra bit of gold helping when you go for absolutely anything. Now, he goes for that extra Imperial official. Makes a lot of sense. You want to be able to just supervise, get the resources you need, or the first Imperial official. So that's usually where the first helping of gold goes, but let's see how long he keeps staying on here to invest. Now, once the taxes start coming in, that is going to skyrocket. But LucifroN is the next question mark we have on our hands. Are we going to just see an early stable? Or are we seeing a greedy little pit mine? There's a lot of players, they take a little bit of time before they get that first or the second pit mine. but some just forgo the others completely. And remember what I said about the 3 cow opening? He says, "Nuh-uh, wheelbarrow for me, ladies and gents."
Ants Quarry popped up right about now, and like you said, wheelbarrow underway. I love doing that when you just pop the villagers in, pop them out the other side, little teleportation, a little bit of micro. Who says there's no micro anyway for, right? Back up here on the Chinese side, waiting to see what the choices will be. It is a second Imperial official, by the way, and a third, so a 3 IO opening here from Anotand. So definitely getting the eco underway, and he will pop down that stable now. So we'll see if he's planning on getting aggressive. We'll see if Pro Scouts ever enters the idea, or if he's just going to try and get aggressive with this. He, again, with 3 IOs, that's quite the buff to his eco already.
And going for that horseman instantly, I'm actually pretty surprised to see this. So when you're playing against the Malians, the trades go a lot better for Malians, at least initially. With your scouts, you do have the healing ability, so they do pretty well against this horseman opening. And you see Anotand now going for his scouts afterwards, which means we're going to be getting our pro scouts coming up and running pretty soon. Now, LucifroN, he went for that second pit mine, and this in turn delayed that stable that he was going for. The scouts are now getting their upgrades too. But without that cow opening, he doesn't have that boost of food that he would need to be able to sustain a lot more units in the early game. Now he goes for the barracks as well, and this is something where you're now being the reactionary one. He's not going to invest too much into the horses, which I'm quite surprised to see, especially after seeing Vortex play so aggressively before. Now, they are going to go straight for the pit mine to do a little bit of damage while the Pro Scouts is being researched, but the deer packs for Anotand, they're in a pretty good spot. Both of them in 2 different sides, so they're easily going to get picked up and carried back. And LucifroN is going to need some time to actually do something against this. Going for a sofa now, though.
At this point, it feels like LucifroN's probably going to start playing towards trying to slow down the remainder of the professional scouts. And also, yeah, getting the cow boom underway. I think, honestly, Chinese, you kind of just let him get the pro scouts. I mean, he's going to send some units there and kind of mess with them. He's going to establish the second pit mine. I think the cow boom just wins in the end. We see this in a lot of games where Malians just kind of holds out. Chinese is going to get aggressive and try and punish this a little bit. But as long as Malians doesn't lose too much, and as long as the cow boom gets underway and gets fully operational, I think the eco boost from that just carries, because eventually, and the hidden secret about pro scouts is it's so much food and so much tempo, but it does run out. And when it does is when the window opens for Malians to sweep in and take a win. So I'm curious to see how this goes. We see obviously he's trying to play to deny some of that, try and get some of those deer for himself. But so far, Anotand being aggressive and doing a good job of getting the professional scouts in. The question is, can Anotand get enough done with the extra boost that gives him?
Now, I'm loving this horseman action because you can see there's yellow dots all around. Now, with that extra yellow dot, that's definitely a horseman that's down there on the gold mines too. So this is just showing us that Anotand, he knows how to deny. And that's exactly what's going on here. With that horseman, he's trying to shut this pit mining down as much as he can so that he can stop that cow boom. Because like you said, it's unlimited resources. At least, when you hit Castle Age, it starts to explode. But even now, it's going to slowly start to ramp up and give him those resources he needs. Anotand, though, he's getting this massive injection. And with this, he needs to make a ton of units to actually make this matter. Now, LucifroN, I feel like he is going to be in a bit of danger here. At least for now. Because what he did is he invested into 5 cows. And 5 cows, it's actually pretty expensive, especially considering you did not make units for a bit of that. And with 5 archers already, he doesn't really have an answer to this just yet. And we can see the villagers coming on out, but it's a huge amount of units. And Anotand hasn't even shown his archers. So LucifroN, he's in a little bit of a trouble. He's in a bit of trouble here. Oh, definitely. Archery range now coming out.
Definitely needs a little bit more units. The cows are expensive. Again, it's a waiting game, right? LucifroN's going to be on the back foot and defending. He wants to get those deer. You can see the tower still in the works, still in the plan. I think Anotand's doing an excellent job of just standing his military right there and just using it as a rally point, really. This is denying that from LucifroN, forcing some kind of reaction. Anotand knows that if he lets LucifroN build up the cow boom unfettered and unabated, it's going to become a huge problem later down the line, and it's a win condition down the line, essentially. But if he can get some damage here, and as we see right now, he's going for a raid. Onto the gold he goes. He should be able to get a villager for this, maybe even 2. Doesn't even commit to the 1. I think he could have gotten that one, honestly.
He definitely did pull back a little bit early there, but LucifroN's reaction just taking a bit longer than needed here. And what's interesting to me is I haven't seen any of the pro players recently go for javelin throwers. Right now, it's been a very heavy archer meta because a lot of people are just so focused on ensuring that they get the poison arrows and the Castle Age Marlians just overwhelms. But this does mean that those archers from Anotand are going to be a pretty good answer against mostly anything that LucifroN does. He does get a few more sofas now. And with that, this is going to mean that his cowl economy is going to start ticking and doing work, but we can look at the income per minute still. Anotand, 1,000 food per minute. He's got more military and he's aging up. So this is a man in a very good spot.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the cow boom hasn't gone beyond 6. LucifroN's using those to eat for food, and the numbers don't lie. I mean, 800 a minute. This is what Pro Scouts affords you. The trick is the follow-up. Getting into Castle Age is a pretty big investment. That's basically your Pro Scouts investment going right back into it. Now the question is, can you follow it up with a big enough push to end the game? And that is now the objective for Anotand, is end this game. You're ahead. You've gotten ahead. Can you do enough damage? LucifroN now, his objective is to hold, and just hope that eventually the cow boom can come to life and really propel him forward. As it is now, he's got 8 of 20. And he's got a couple of sofa, he's got a couple of archers, he's got a couple of spears out there. Can he do enough? Can he just hold and give himself enough time?
And LucifroN is now just making as many units as he can. He knows that, hey, you just invested a ton into units, but if I switch now, things can get very hairy. The units that you make in Castle, I can respond to. So with him having sofas and a little bit of ground presence here, he's going to try to get his opponent to, back off. But as we can see here, the numbers are just not going to lie. We have a pretty scary army in front of us, but not scary enough for now. I'm actually quite surprised. Anotand here, he needs a little bit of a beefy front line. Oh, and the spearmen finally get their upgrade as well. This is going to mean that these sofas don't get to run on top of them too easily. But the sofas themselves, they're looking for some damage. Anotand, he wants to attack, and LucifroN has to make him pull back.
That's the first villager killed in the whole game right there. I thought it would be the one on the Malian side, but instead, LucifroN does the damage. And now, because of this, again, this is the perfect thing to do as Malians. Poke back. Force the idle time. Look at that many vills chasing after. If you can just send a couple sofa, force Anotand to go back to his base. If you can afford yourself the time, you're going to get ahead with the cows. He's got now 10 of 20. And Sofa do a pretty good job. And they're quick, they're darty, they're dangerous. You got to be aware of them. As you see, he's still trying to get onto more gold vills. Thankfully, with both villages there's plenty of room and plenty of housing to store all those villagers in time of peril. But as it is, I like what LucifroN's doing, trying to buy time.
Now, LucifroN is losing quite a few units with this. He's trying his best at microing them and making sure they land, but he's lost so many. The villagers now in position for the archers, but the archers are at the ready. We do have the backup right there. And a handful of sofas could be doing the trick, but he does let the archers back off for now. The reinforcements are just around the corner, though, and he cannot overcommit here without losing it all. He does need to be careful. The Donzers, though, they get a Lancer and quickly turn him into a kebab. Sofas get a little bit of a surround here on the archers, but these are veteran archers. They do take a little bit more damage before going down. And it does look like Anotand feels pretty confident about this fight, pushing forward now. And the Lance is going in quite deep here, right under the TC. But is this a little bit too heavy of an investment right now?
I think it is. I think he's overextending into this here. This has been some really good micro from LucifroN. It's a dangerous spot. This is the dangerous spot right here, is can LucifroN survive without taking too much damage? And I think he will. The Sofa are still on the field. The archers are going to start getting picked off by the TC, and the Sofa are there. There's no more spears here, and he's got to get out of there. That was a huge overcommitment there from Anotand.
LucifroN holding that pretty easily. Anotand overcommitting here, thinking that, hey, I've got the Lances, I can probably do this. But you have to respect the fact that LucifroN is still making units in Feudal. And for some reason, Anotand just didn't anticipate that, thinking like, hey, the castle means that maybe I just get to be a little bit more greedy. But no, there was no age-up happening behind this. LucifroN invested, and now this will tell him, hey, maybe we think about castle from here on out, as we see the food starting to pile up, but responsibly. it looks like he's spending as many resources as he needs to make sure that he's got the army to attack or survive the next attack too. And especially investing into those Donzos.
I mean, so far, if I'm LucifroN, this worked swimmingly. That was an ideal dive to have happen to you, because Anotand threw away a lot and even lost 2 extra Lancers on the retreat. So they were able to harry his forces enough and get some more value out of it. And now cows, there's 12 of 20. Suddenly the cow boom is starting to really make an impact here. Look at the food per minute. Right now, LucifroN with 1100 a minute, only to 850 from Anotand. Now we start wondering, okay, how much more deer does Anotand have? He's got lots on gold. He still has a couple more deer, but those are going to start drying up. And when they dry up, you're going to see the wheels fall right off, and then a crash and burn could happen unless Anotand's really careful about where he's going to get his food and what expenses he throws away. As we see here, Lancers diving the TC again. There's not really a lot of value here for it as the age up is happening. Grand Fulani coming up right now, but that's a lot of Donzos. And yeah, these things are tanky, but I see 1 or 2 falling. I don't like this dive.
He was hoping to land a lot more damage here, but the villagers are in and out of that TC, and sure, the idle time is in their villagers fighting for their lives as well. Now, the Lancers, they do stay alive for a long time, and the villagers are idle under that TC. But is this enough for LucifroN to hold? Even if he idles out, of his whole economy is idled out, he's still going to be able to produce here. And we see more Donzos in queue. Villagers, though, they're all standing under that TC, hoping for better days. The archers, not enough to really take these down, but if he had another barracks, this could be so much harder.
That's the caveat right there. He just needs 1 more barracks, and he could be pumping out a little bit more. As it is, losing a lot. He hasn't lost a ton of vills, but the idle time is really bad. More Lancers coming in. It's the follow-up. Anotand doing a good job of trying to get the value out of this. Almost 10 villagers have gone down. The idle time is the most concerning thing for me right now, and the fact that there just isn't enough of the Donzos on the field, and now they're just wrapping around the villagers. Is there anything that can take care of them? 10, 11, 12 now villagers. This could be just enough. Anotand might be able to do it right here. The villagers have nowhere else to go.
And it shows you the power of production buildings. This man on 1 barracks almost held it.
Man.
So close, but the Lancers just never stopped coming, with the deer just giving him enough breathing room to survive until now. The villagers getting us around on that Lancer, but everything is falling. 22 villagers dead now, and unfortunately those Lancers, they are taking a lot of hits before going down with +2 ranged armor. Anotand knew he could do this, and honestly, for a second there, it looked like he threw, but I feel like LucifroN's production buildings just was his biggest enemy in that game.
If he just had another barracks, I think he could have maybe held that. And again, usually the demarcation line for me on if you've done enough damage to Malians is by castle age, once they get into castle, can you deal 20 villager deaths or more? If you can get more than 20 villagers killed, the full cow boom feels a little underwhelming then, I think. In this case, he was able to do it. And you can kind of see on the graph too, you can kind of see at the end there, 24 vills killed, and suddenly that little dotted line that shows kind of the true power of the economy, pretty close to even. And then the fact that he can't produce any military, that was just enough. That was close, but just enough. Not quite enough Donzos. I mean, goodness, 7 more Donzos, and I think we have a different game on our hands.
Now, with this, LucifroN will probably need to find a way to navigate from losing with the Malians, because Malians, like I said before, was one of the strongest picks at the moment in the current tournament scene. At the same time, though, Chinese still keeps up pretty well. And Anotand on China, we can see what this man can do. Now, I would love for us to see what is up next, because we still haven't had a lot of time to look at that draft, but it's right here in front of us. We see Frisian Marshes and LucifroN with the HRE. Tukluk not seeing the light of day on this map just yet.
Yeah, nobody wants to see those elephants on this map, and for good reason. It's a pretty good choice, so it'll be HRE instead. And again, Macedonians have been banned almost all. I don't think they've slipped through once. We haven't seen a single game. We've seen them chosen a lot, and every time they've been proffered up, they have been banned away. So clearly, no one wants to deal with them, but instead we'll have Mongols then into HRE. Mongols is pretty good on this map, I think. Frisian Marshes tends to be a pretty good map for them. HRE, it's an interesting choice on this map, but I don't think it's bad either. We'll see how that one plays out. Again, with so much food on the map, you can do a lot with HRE here, I think, as well. And obviously, Mongols has a pretty good time.
Now, what I'm excited to see is whether we have a little bit of Dark Age action on both sides, because of course, we know Mongols. Mongols loves to get a few spears here in Dark Age, but HRE, they don't actually mind taking a fight like that, especially with them having that defender's advantage with the prelate in the base too. It just allows you for a little bit more of those shenanigans. But before we head into the game, let's quickly take a look at this draft, because the draft right now is a little bit wild here. As we see, the bans are completely different, except for Ottomans, from the other games. So we see both of these players just saying Ottomans is not going to see the light of day, but the differentiating factor here is that LucifroN got China banned against him and first picked French, which is absolutely crazy to think about, that someone would pick French first in this draft, because LucifroN, he's an absolute god on French. I know this, but first picking it as well, you can see the value he puts into this civilization.
Well, it can afford him to pick, like, I mean, we saw that kind of happen with the Malians game on the Dry Arabia. It didn't go his way, but he can throw out the French and any other civ he wants, and your opponent's almost always going to ban that French from LucifroN just because you're LucifroN with French. That's not someone you want anything of. You don't want to see that. So, I mean, we'd love to see it, of course, but as an opponent, you do not want to go against it. So very clearly a good choice for LucifroN. It's just kind of interesting how sometimes you can be so good with one civ that it just kind of tips the scales in your favor with it. But as it is, it'll be HRE and Mongols on Frisian Marshes here. I'm kind of hoping we see a Socotra game later, but we'll have to see. As first, we got to dive into this one. It's game number 2, LucifroN versus Anotand. LucifroN in the red right here. You're looking at it with a barracks coming out as the Holy Roman Empire. And Anotand as the Mongols in the yellow. He'll be in the south corner with the yellow Mongols. And does he have a barracks going to be coming out as well is the question. We're going to have some Dark Age shenanigans from LucifroN in just a couple moments.
And of course, this makes sense. You don't want to deal with a Mongol rush without the appropriate response. And LucifroN's response here is going to be what matters. The first spear already in queue. And luckily for Anotand, his Uwu is very safely placed under his TC here. So this is usually something that can be a little tricky, especially if you're up against a civ that also does Dark Age shenanigans. So that Uwu is not going to be targeted by any spear who wants to come out there alive. Now, water for both of these civilizations would usually make a lot of sense, but I don't think anyone's going to be taking any risks instead of just making pure spearmen for now.
Yeah, I agree. Water will be on the menu in a little bit. They'll definitely get out there eventually, but in the Dark Age, in the first couple minutes, they might hold off on just a moment. It's going to be some spear action coming right up, as 2 spears now on the field for LucifroN. I'm sure Anotand is going to follow with his own. There's the barracks just in time, as I mentioned it. I'm sure we'll see spears in the queue here momentarily.
And there they come. But now, usually the battle in the early game in this type of a matchup is about who has enough food to outsustain the other. Now, LucifroN, he's got a lot of food in the bank here, but we don't see him queuing up another spear. And this is a pretty smart move, of course, because you don't know how much your opponent is investing into this. So with your 2-2 spears, you should be able to handle most of what your opponent can do. But Anotand, we've already seen the Uwu out. Oh, there, what is that thing? The Gur, it's out here on the gold. And the spears, they are just putting a little bit of pressure down there so that Anotand knows he needs to invest even more. So, if this is a bait, it makes a lot of sense, but it's not. LucifroN says, I need to make more spears. I'm going to contest this. Don't you worry.
Oh, man. Sometimes the game presents itself as a Dark Age aggressive feast for us viewers here. Spears running home, though. It's kind of annoying with that Khan just doing some chip damage as they do. So that spear now down to about half health against 3. He definitely needs to regroup and get back with his buddies. Got another one back at home, and now the question is, can he get enough gold in time? Thankfully, he does also have the prelate there. That'll help heal up, and that should change this in favor of LucifroN. As long as he doesn't lose one first. There we go. Get the healing on that, just like that. And then he can go and actually contest this and really fight, and then he will win this fight with the numbers he has.
And for a second there, I thought Anotand was saying, okay, I've made enough spears. I'm not going to overinvest into this. But no, he is. He's making more spears. LucifroN's the one that slowed down here. And we'll see if those 4 spears are going to be enough to actually keep this fight going. The prelate doing some good work here. LucifroN now getting all the gold he needs to actually get those Feudal Age upgrades as well for the spears. But he doesn't need to be worried about this at all. Now, the spear numbers will start to get a little bit scarier, and this is going to be the point where LucifroN has to decide, I'm going to commit to this, or I'm just going to back off and hopefully survive the first stages of that Feudal Age. And one of the spears falling is massive.
Yeah, they started threading the prelate, right? And the micro. You could see the intense micro going back and forth here. The prelate's trying to get in range. Another one drops to the arrow of the Khan, and suddenly it's 5 spears to 2. And even with the prelate, that is not enough. So some unfortunate little misbits there from LucifroN. And these fights, they're just down to the wire when it gets this close, right? But the age up coming up, it is going to be the Minework Palace. Khan takes a good look at it over there. This should go up. That's a good number of spears. The problem is they cannot dive into the TC. The fire from that will take them out. And Deerstone's behind this from Anotand.
Now we do see that emergency repair coming in, ensuring that he doesn't get any of his bonuses from burning buildings. So he wants to keep that mining camp alive, and losing a spear was pretty tough. But at the same time now, you have the opportunity to hit that age up first and find a response. I still feel like this is a pretty good spot for Anotand though. Anotand, he's got the numbers, and he's up against some Minework Palace and a very HRE-starved man when it comes to gold.
Yeah, which is a pretty good spot to be in if you're Mongols. I would expect now behind this, once into the Feudal Age, we'll probably see Anotand move out to the fishing a little bit more. And then for LucifroN, he just needs to stabilize a little bit. This is a little precarious and doesn't feel great. But Anotand in a very dominant spot. And it always feels good when you can sit on your opponent's gold like this.
Oof. And those little charges are just paying off. He's trying to poke as much as he can. He needs to delay this mining camp too. This is the big part for LucifroN. He doesn't want him to get this burn damage down, because the moment he does, he gets that little bit of a bonus for taking down something that big. Now, with LucifroN, he's going to make that archery range. He doesn't have a lot of wood here though. All of the wood being used to repair this mining camp, not lose it this quickly, but another spear in danger, but will make it out alive, just barely.
Man, such thin margins going on right here. I mean, that mining camp, just really close to the edge. There's enough spears now. I mean, look at that one. How much health does that one have? That's got so low. It's one hit away essentially. Yeah, 3 HP in a dream. An emergency repairs for the second time, and this is why HRE sometimes is just so good. Being able to outlast that is actually really impressive. And all this fighting for a very marginal amount of gold and a little bit of wood. I love this high level of play sometimes because of how down to the wire it can get. We've seen a couple of things go that way today. We've seen a couple games come down to mere seconds, and this one already reaching the high expectations I had for it. So, but we're both underway now into Feudal Age. So now the Dark Age aggression kind of ends, and we kind of hit a spot where we reset. We reset, we reload, and we go again.
And I would like to know what that red dot is running towards one of those ponds over there. Is that a villager? No, that's a sneaky boy villager just going to place down a dock to get that bit of a food boost. Now, the problem here is we are up against Mongols who love it when you move out onto the map and invest elsewhere, because their mass is scarier than yours most of the time. Now, we do have the archer numbers increasing for Anotand pretty heavily. But we have to keep in mind, we are still playing against HRE, and LucifroN, he's getting +1 attack now. This is going to mean a lot more investment into those archer numbers.
Yeah, and those will go well into both the spears and the archers of Mongols. So it's a good unit to have, and they'll even do some good damage against the Khan there. Keep him away. You see the bird taking some looks at what the base has to store.
Does need to be careful with this goal. And both of goals being on the same side, this is a tough one. You do not just get to have a few chops for free. You need to work for it. Now, the first fishing boat coming on out for him, Anotand does not even care about getting any water. He feels like the land mass is going to be enough, and he's going to make this matter.
Now, both golds in the front really does feel a little awkward. Not ideal if you're LucifroN. You really got to get onto that while you have the chance. I'd almost love to see maybe like a forward outpost on that. That would almost be worth the wood, I would think, here, just to secure that, because you really need that. As HRE, you just need to have the gold. You don't want to stay in Feudal for long. Your real power spike is going to be when you reach the third age.
Now, him getting that stable makes a lot of sense. You want to make sure that you can make a unit that handles everything your opponent has. And right now, everything is a bunch of archers. Your archers probably just aren't going to be doing the same amount of work without the movement speed that the HRE has. So him going for that, beautiful stable is just going to mean a bunch of Keshiks in between if ever needed. You can see him getting +1 range defense as well. He knows the power of these archers and he knows how much this is going to hurt. Now, LucifroN also needs to find a way to secure that gold. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pops down a tower there at some point, because of course, you are going to be handling a lot of constant pressure coming your way. 16 archers now from Anotand, and nothing else in the queue just yet. There we go. More archers, he says. It's exactly what he needs. That prelate, though, is working overtime to keep all those villagers inspired.
And he needs the wood, too. I mean, he's got food. Wood is what he needs to make spears, to make more archers. Thankfully, he's been given a bit of a reprieve here from Anotand, who himself has now moved on to some water, getting a dock there on that closest pond. And meanwhile, LucifroN adding a second dock to his next pond. So, starting to move out on the eco. That could be a spot where Anotand can maybe try and go press if he doesn't want to press into the gold. At this point, it feels like things have stabilized pretty well now. I think LucifroN's back into a decent spot. He's got that tower up we were both talking about. And now this massive unit, it's kind of slow. This is the problem with walking it all the way back to your base is it's kind of slow. These archers walked all the way back, and now they're walking all the way back across once more, giving LucifroN some more time to get ready. He's got 18 archers to Anotand's 23.
And very modestly investing onto these fishing bows, I say, as he builds yet another dock. Never mind, he is making more than enough fishing bows to ensure that this economy stays happy and healthy. But only 18 archers against 25. This is going to matter where the numbers are. And the villagers, they're standing forward. They're going to be the cannon fodder. And one pays the price, another one, and a third. That is massive.
That felt really bad. Yeah, that was not ideal. I almost wish that other tower be put a little forward. It's kind of in the back there. I would have moved it up a little bit to get better vision and then to be able to pop your villagers in just a little bit faster. As it was, they were caught out at a bit of an inopportune time and a bit of a slow pull there from LucifroN. It doesn't feel good to be down by 3. Mongols thrives on that kind of damage.
Now, with LucifroN getting 3 kills, it feels good for him. This is a decent spot for him to be in. But he has to keep in mind, or, well, he's about to find out, there are fishing boats here, so the damage is negated, at least a little bit for a while. But he will keep a close eye on that bunch of villagers there at the front, definitely. Not going to be making the same mistake. We do see that Anotand is trying to find where the docks may be, and if there are any. But not seeing one on the first dock just shows you how big brain LucifroN was here, ensuring that he does not give away anything. The villagers being out here on the berries just solidifies that idea. And he's like, oh yeah, you are a hungry, hungry man. You will be out here for the berries. This means you are starving, running out of food pretty quickly, aren't we?
It's kind of good for LucifroN that those docks haven't been spotted yet. Not really. Been pretty fortunate for him. If Anotand were to send some units up there, he could really disrupt it. As it is, though, food economy looking okay for both players at the moment. But this push, this looks dangerous here from Anotand. He's got a lot of units coming in, but a lot of archers here for LucifroN. The problem is he's just idling out a lot of villagers. I mean, goodness, everything's heading back to the TC. They're not on the berries anymore, and everything around the gold is just kind of being held up. Getting back onto it now, but again, with both gold veins being in the front, not much else LucifroN can do about it.
And losing the prelate in this case, it was actually a massive move here from Anotand. Anotand just getting rid of that means that early game relic pressure is completely gone. So once he starts aging up, this is not going to be a worry where you're like, oh, I need to shut this down quickly. No, it doesn't really matter. You do have more time and you get time to attack. And those archers, again, just getting yet another victim, which is going to force LucifroN to think about, hey, do I need another dock? And yes, he does. He says he goes for the 4th dock now. Absolutely capitalizing on every bit of food he can because he knows he's just that little bit behind.
Oh, but it's so sneaky because look at the 3 closer pawns. I mean, he went to the ones further away. The closest pawn doesn't have a dock. I love the sneakiness. I love how he snuck out and did that far away. It's kept it out of the vision of Anotand. He does not know and probably doesn't suspect that this Regnitz Cathedral is coming up right behind this. I mean, how could he know if he doesn't know that there's fishing going on up north? And I don't know that he does. I'm not sure that he has scouted that out yet. He certainly hasn't responded to it in any way, shape, or form. LucifroN obviously knows what Anotand's doing here. But yeah, it's hard to tell. As it is, Regnitz isn't going to come up. It is already going to be age 3, however, for Anotand. So in a couple seconds, he'll be getting his upgrades. We see the Archer upgrade, the first one he prioritizes. Going to need that here in the coming moments. And LucifroN make this work. He's been on the back foot most of the game. He just needs to survive and maybe get some kind of bonus in Castle Age. He gets up now, getting his Archer upgrade as well. But then what's the follow-up?
The follow-up is going to be the most important here for LucifroN. And I was going to say, getting those archers upgraded is so important, but he needs to find something that deals with other archers. And he finds it. He gets himself a knight to make sure that this is somewhat of an answer to a massive set of archers. The problem is just he doesn't have the food for anything else. And this is maybe where Anotand might run over him completely. Because all of these villagers here at the back, they're doing great on wood, but you can't make armies with just wood. Now, the Kurultai being this far forward tells you Anotand, he's looking for blood and he is going to get it. There's no stone in the bank to reinforce these poor little towers either. So LucifroN, he is hoping for every single second he can get, but the villagers out here on the berries again telling you he is a starved young man. And another dead vill.
And 5 villager kills. Doesn't feel good. That's like not a catastrophic spot when you've got a lot of fishing behind it, but does not feel good. At this point, though, Kurultai right in your face. Doesn't feel nice. Feels very dangerous. I really wish he'd get some stone and maybe get some sprinkled emplacements on those towers. That would go a long way to holding this position, I think. It's a bit of an investment, though. Obviously, he's trying to put all hands on deck to get food and wood and what gold he can gather. At what point do you start considering going up to that north gold maybe and trying to build up on that? But then again, it's just way too close to that Kurultai.
Now, with these towers, they're going to do pretty good damage against archers, but pretty good is not good enough when you're under a Kurultai, of course. And this is now the issue that LucifroN's facing. He's making more archers because this is all he can afford right now. But it's not going to be enough to actually stop this. And another villager going down. This is just the story of time. The archers not able to do anything here, and no single archer is falling. LucifroN now being a little bit desperate, going out onto the other ponds too. He knows he needs a bit of food, and he's just not able to find it. But Anotand now moving forward to build that tower, and this just tells us he is ready to think about that kill. Look at all these villagers on wood. Every single bit is going to a fishing boat, and they are struggling to just keep producing.
I think the game's about to be up. Keshik has scouted the first pond with fishing on it. So now Anotand knows. If he didn't before, he certainly knows now that there is indeed fishing down there. What is his reaction to be that? We'll see. There's a lot of archers now here for LucifroN. 38 to 32. The tricky thing is you got a Kurultai like right in front of your base. And with the Keshiks coming in behind this in numbers, there's nothing to deal with the Keshiks. There's just nothing there. He's got a couple of knights. I like that he's sending these out to go get aggressive onto Anotand, however. That is the one thing LucifroN needs, is to get back ahead. It's currently 8-2 as far as economy kills goes. It's, man, if he just had access to gold somewhere else, he'd be in a much better spot. He's getting the relics as best he can, but, this is tricky. With the repairs helping out a little bit, I don't see how LucifroN's going to manage this without a really convincing fight that goes his way. These Keshiks, I think, are going to make the difference.
He is really trying his best at just getting those archer numbers up before he takes the fight. He knows he needs to one-shot them. The Kurultai is not going to let them just, go back and be injured. They're going to get healed up. They're going to push yet again. This is just a constant type of pressure that he doesn't have the answers for just yet. With the knight numbers, he's hoping to find that. The Keshiks now going to have 14 of them. That is an insane amount to handle. Now, he does eventually burn down one of these towers, but he is in a very, very tough place. Now, behind this, we see 900 wood per minute still coming on in, and he did get a few kills here. We have to consider the fact that those knights, they eventually were able to do something. They killed 3 villagers total, and that feels pretty good. But more villagers are falling, and LucifroN is the one losing the numbers. Anotand looking to make this a 2-0 already. Very aggressive plays from him. And even though the eco count looks pretty even, we have to consider most of those are just a fishing ship difference.
Yeah, and what's more, Anotand is yoinking the forward relics. He's taking away what access to gold LucifroN has. At this point, LucifroN has just been trading for gold. He's been selling off that wood. That's about all he can do at this point. That's the only source of gold he has. He just can't seem to get things going. It's 12 to 3 Vil kills, and he's still got this massive army right on his doorstep. It's such a difficult spot to play under, and it's really hard to defend on something like that. And then to deal with the Kurlitai in particular, and then just to lose on the wings as well. This is just not going LucifroN's way. It feels like he's been looking for a lucky break and hasn't gotten enough of one.
You can see LucifroN's poor villager. He's built all the docks in the Empire, but he shall not be shutting down the docks on the other side. Anotand finding more villager kills, and now LucifroN, he knows that there's a timing here where he's going to be dead if he doesn't find a way to make this work. Ooh, and a Keshik does not go over. Never mind. I got too excited for that one.
LucifroN with 3 of those relics. That's the other income source of the gold. I mean, it's amazing he got that many under all this. I mean, I'm shocked that he's lasted as long as he has here. Villagers, though, running for the hills as now Anotand just dives straight in, straight back. Isn't worried at all. Keshik's trying to get a surround on the villagers. 21 Vil kills, 23, 24. The numbers keep rising up and up they go. This feels like it's just it.
LucifroN is...
some Lancers.
He's trying.
Yep, some...
No, it does look like this is an absolute destruction. We can see the knights doing everything they can to stop these villagers from dying, but 25 is a number you do not get back from Kurlitai. Not plopped down right now, and it does look like he's trying to stop this as much as he can. That one archer blocking it. Is this maybe the fight he needed to be able to clean this up? And it does look like it will stop the Kurlitai from plopping down, but the damage has been done, Sokoden.
Yeah, it's the Vil kills is what I'm wondering about. This is a great fight. This is actually a really good fight. Denying the Kurlitai is really good. The problem is if you wipe and trade all things being even, you're still down 27 Vils. It doesn't feel good, but a decent fight at least.
Yeah, the
victory.
The Kurlitai, I feel like this was the MVP. Just the Kurlitai block. LucifroN knows what he needed to do to give himself the best odds, and he did an amazing job at that, but he knows it's over. And LucifroN taps out. Anotand taking 2-0 now. Looking quite convincing here, and I don't want to jinx him, but Anotand's looking scary.
Yeah, he's looking really good right now. He's proved it 2 games in a row. Looking to prove it for a 3rd game, make this a clean sweep and move on. LucifroN, I mean, like I said earlier, looking for a lucky break somewhere. Couldn't quite get one. He was doing his best. He was able to hide that fishing for a while, but it just was not enough. HRA needs the gold, and he just couldn't get enough of it. And Anotand, he very well could go 3-0 here. We'll have to find out see if LucifroN's got some fight in him yet. Maybe he can try and get a number on the board, try and go for the reverse sweep, but he's got a very steep hill to climb. Especially
considering this map choice was his. And now he's got to ask himself, am I going to get French? Now, the Hill and Dale is the choice here, and him having 2 pretty strong picks here. We see Sengoku. Oh, yes, Sengoku getting sniped. I always mix up Malian and Sengoku flags for some reason, so I had to do a brain check there for a second. But House of Lancaster coming out, and honestly, I'm excited to see what they could do. Golden Horde was not picked for this map, so I'm hoping to find out where he's saving that civilization for. But we see another Aeobits coming on out, and we've seen Aeobits on this map. It's pretty disgusting, but they have been beaten several times. So definitely an uphill battle because it's Hill and Dale. But if there's one man who can do it, it's definitely LucifroN.
A downhill battle that turns into an uphill battle. Hill and Dale. You know, I do like Aeobids on this map quite a bit. We'll see how House Lancaster can manage. I think that's just a good civ in general. So we'll see how it is to be played. Last time we saw Aeobids lose on this map today, lost to the Mongols. This time around, there's no trade to worry about. You just got to worry about those Lords of Lancaster, those heavy units. It's dangerous. It's a tricky play, I think, for Aeobids. I guess I'm trying to think of what wing I would most likely to go for. I'm thinking maybe just the Dervishes just feels like a good choice. Just because of the healing and how good they are. But I could also see Military Wing being useful here, getting some extra Desert Raiders. Maybe you can try and kite Lords, but I just feel like they're so tanky. The damage that the ranged units, the ranged attack for as the Raiders have, it just isn't enough. It just isn't enough. So I would expect probably Dervish Wing from a Ubids, and we'll see how House Lancaster wants to go about it. I bet those lords will prove quite the issue for Anotand early on.
Yeah, the thing about Hill and Dale is you have a lot of places to get in, but once you have a pretty solid base built, it's hard to find the damage, at least in the, I would say in the Feudal Age when you start getting an extended one. Aeobids, they have an answer of getting out of Feudal Age pretty quickly. House of Lancaster, kind of the same thing. They also have a lot more cards up their sleeves. So with House of Lancaster on this map, I don't think we've seen a lot of it, but they do pretty well if you let them sit and dictate the pace of the game. The Lords don't have that same mobility as you get with the Camels, but yeah, we do see Dervishes being significant in all of these matchups. They've been doing an absolute amazing job at just turning the game every single time. But before we get to Helendale, I want us to take a look at what could be for the future here too, because we still have Socotra and Baldland left. So Baldland, I feel like LucifroN has two very solid choices here. We have, not House of Link, we have Golden Horde and we have French here for him, which both of them could be quite scary to play against. Well, Anotand on the other side has Byzantines and Delhi for those, which, again, also going to be pretty tough. Same with Macedonians, also a pretty common pick on this map.
Yeah, I feel like Macedonians is going to keep getting banned. It seems that nobody wants to have to deal with them. I expect them. I'd be surprised if we see a Macedonians game today, just because it seems like there's a consensus around the top of this league that everyone does not want to face them. That said, Byzantines could be a good choice maybe for Baldland. We've seen them have success on that map. And I'm thinking Socotra, like Japanese could be good on Socotra. I'm thinking Delhi could be good on Socotra with a small space for Anotand. LucifroN, if he doesn't get French on Baldland, maybe he can sneak it in on Socotra there. Small rush distance could be really good with those knights. But that's dependent, of course, on the outcome of this game right here in Hill and Dale. Of course, LucifroN is hoping to get to game number 4, but that's not a guarantee right now. So we'll see.
Especially with Anotand. Anotand is someone who just... I don't feel like he's the man to get reverse sweep, right? GG Dog, how do you feel about this? Do you think Anotand, our Slavic brother, has a chance of getting reverse sweep? Oh, I don't know about
you. That was a maybe. That was a maybe. That was like a maybe.
That was a maybe. Do you believe that LucifroN can do this? Whoa.
That's a maybe.
That's a maybe
That's a very
as well,
clear
guys.
Maybe.
GG Dog has spoken, and I don't want to question the GG Dog. She's pretty accurate with her GGs in general.
Well, there you have it, guys. The dog says there is a chance. And so while there is a chance, that's why we're here and why we cast these games, right? Like, just because you're up 2 does not, we've seen it happen before. We've seen reverse sweeps be done. They're rare, but they happen. And the dog seems to think it's possible. Maybe there's a bit of a higher register there. Like, maybe. Like, you can't count them out just yet. But a chance there is. So now I'm really invested in this match, Wham. And I want to see, is it possible? Are we going to see LucifroN take it to a Ubids here? If the dog says, I believe. So.
If GG Dog says it, then anyone can believe. See, Twitch knows GG Dog. Twitch knows how powerful the prediction of the snoot is. This is one of the most powerful snoots we have in the scene. And you can see she's got a toy right behind her that is a direct mock-up of her. It's because her word is so powerful. So we believe in the GG. We believe in the dog and LucifroN. We believe in him to bring this back. Because what would be a 3-0 at this stage? We would like to see some close games. We want to be here all night. I know our production crew is sitting here thinking, 3-2, bring it on, baby. So guys, let's load on in. Hill and Dale, ready for us to roll. And let's go see what these boys have in store for us. So first things first, let's look at these spawns. Red, oh wait, okay, no, whoa, Anotand. This man's not messing around. Look at that tiny wall. Wow, he's playing it safe.
I mean, that was what killed, was it? Valdemar was able to use that tiny gap and get through. I mean, that was the difference on this game for a Ubids series ago. You know, it was that tiny gap in the wall. Valdemar exploited that to high heaven and back. So I like that choice. I mean, a little bit of wood, a little bit of time, just secure it. Just don't even make it a worry. It's like having insurance for your house. You know, you want to make sure you don't have to worry if a flood happens or something. Just put that out of your mind. So that wall I actually really, really like.
Now, that wall was most likely also built because we're used to seeing House of Lancaster in Dark Age just being an absolute nightmare. And Anotand being respectful of that, especially considering that he's got his berries and his gold on the same side. You don't want to get yourself into a position where you're stopped from both. Now, like you said before, if they're out there on the berries with all the villagers on the one bush, we know we're not going to get an eco wing out of the man just yet. House of Wisdom coming on out, but the age up button is still very far from being clicked. Let's go take a look at these sheep. LucifroN, he went to scout that spawn. He knows exactly what's cooking over there. Picking up a few sheep here, but it does still feel a little bit barren, and he's about to trail the other scout.
Nothing feels worse. Oh, there's a lot of things that feel really bad in this game, and trailing someone else's scout has got to be in the top 5 worst feelings in this game. Top among them used to be when, you know, you'd have your trebuchet sniped by a springald back in the old days. But following someone else's scout is now rising the ranks, because that feels so bad. Not getting your sheep always bothers me, but as it is, Anotand getting the jump, running back behind.
Aging up with the 3 on gold means he's just not going to have gold for a while. So no crazy House of Lancaster plays coming on out, but we do see logistics coming instead. Now, Anotand is a smart man. He knows the strength of logistics. He knows that, hey, I can use 1 camel to do all the work I need, especially when I have dervishes healing them up. And when you're up against the House of Lancaster, you usually just need 1 or 2 answers to deal with that early pressure coming out of them. Now, LucifroN is also going for a stone. He is going to go get his manor, at least one of them. And Anotand, though, he's also got the villagers on the wood. He knows he needs to build something, but apparently that something is walls and not anything else.
Yeah, pretty defensive posture here from Anotand. I do like the choice to go logistics, though, because, again, the versatility that allows you to have. You can choose to be a little more aggressive. You can choose to be a little more defensive, go for a faster castle. Looks like he's opting to be a bit more on the defensive side. We see another wall planned on the north side as well. He's really looking to box in. The tricky thing is, if LucifroN really wants to, those lords are pretty tanky, and they can take a lot of beating and a lot of punishment on their way through those walls if they so desire. So Anotand hoping to buy himself time with these walls. The question is, will he get enough of it?
I feel like he will. He definitely will. The walls are so powerful in a situation like this, because every single time your opponent's like, hey, I can do this, they go in, they're like, ugh, that was a lot of shots, pulls back out, and you've already saved yourself another bunch of seconds there. So the villagers here from LucifroN now, we get it, our first manor being built, but there's only 1 lord. And that's the thing here, for now at least. So the rest of them moving out there on the deer, and this tells me that we might be getting a castle match, which is pretty wild to think about. Is that another production building that's being built from LucifroN right next to the manor? Let's just take a quick look. No, he's not. He's just gonna go fast castle himself. Would he? No. I don't know, Socrates. I'm worried.
I'm not sure. Anotand is very concerned about it, however. Clearly, I've never seen so many walls and a base in Hill and Dale before. He is very, very adamant he will not have his stuff attacked here. And if LucifroN decides just to go castle without getting aggressive, I feel like that's going to play into Anotand's hands. However, this overinvestment in defenses might actually bite him back in the bottom here. Overinvesting in these walls might be a little unoptimal. Not quite as optimal as he maybe would like, but again, it's just saying, hey, you're not going to touch my villagers. These guys are safe. They're mine, and we're keeping them safe.
And that 1 lord is going to be a little bit of pressure out here, but Anotand doesn't need a single camel to keep this going. LucifroN now going for a stable. I like to see this. Now, getting your stable out means, you know, we can get a hobbler. And those things will hop right along, make your life very, very difficult, because they just don't take range damage. They have armor that is just built for any TC fire that dares rain upon them. But those walls are going to make this so difficult for him to do. The next lord is in queue, and apparently the game is about to begin. But Anotand, with all of this safe building space, he's probably pretty ready for this. The 3rd lord coming out now too. He's got the stables at the ready to follow this up pretty quickly, but he's going to now see, hey, these walls are not that optimal for me.
Lord, taking a look at that little tiny wall. That's like literally 4 wood worth of walling right there. Enough to slow down that Lord for quite a while. But that's a lot of stables. Man, I mean, even with all those walls, a second one coming in. Man, Anotand making his base just impenetrable here with all these walls. He is saying, no, thank you. We are closed today. You know, I think that Ayubis is the better civ here, especially going into Castle Age if everything else is equal. But there's a real world here where if LucifroN could get enough of a mass and get a good timing push, it would be very dangerous for Anotand. He's playing so defensively. That said, if he gets to Castle and gets some camels out, I feel like he'd still be in a pretty good spot.
Now the question is, does he go for auto camels or does he go for villagers here to make said camels? But I feel like you have to... Oh, he goes for industry wing. Neither of the two, he says he wants production buildings. And this feels a little scary at the moment. No, you're going to be able to get your production buildings out. That's great. But does he have the food to sustain this? The thing is, he's still got all those deer that are killed next to his base. But you can't just be out on them. You're definitely going to get denied from them at least a little bit. So, Industry Wing coming in at 1 minute 30 seconds, but LucifroN, he doesn't look like he's going to slow down whatsoever. Barracks coming on out, he knows what he's about to face, and getting spears here is going to make this a little bit more bearable.
Second wall's about to go down. LucifroN forcing his way in, forcing the issue, wants to get in there with those lords and with the hobblars, and in they go. And this is where things get really tenuous for Anotand. Can he hold? Can he avoid taking too much damage in idle time? There's only 3 lords, but again, like, you're still seconds away, a minute away from Castle Age, trying to get what he needs. He's only got like 1 spear there to defend. Nothing but Town Center Fire is going to help him here. Thankfully, LucifroN vacillating back and forth a little bit, hasn't quite committed. Now it looks like he has. Going to get onto the barracks. Town Center Fire again does nothing to the hobblars, really. So readjusting the fire to go to Lords of Lancaster instead. That'll take 1 down in a moment. A couple of spears just trying to slow things down, but the idle time being caused here is not great. LucifroN just really asserting himself here, forcing the issue. The hobblars, there's just no answer to them. Could he have made this timing just right? Anotand was being so meticulous with all these walls, trying to be very careful and keep things safe, but instead is able to trap one of the dervishes. 1 goes down. That's a huge loss. Spears popping out now, trying to maintain things and push these hobblars away. But again, all throughout this whole time, 15 of 15 inside that TC. So much idle time caused here. Is it going to be enough? It looks tenuous at best right now for Anotand.
Anotand has aged up. He's got the wood, but what does he do with the wood? He's got nothing else. Food is just a myth at this point. The villagers chopping wood inside there as well, hoping for a miracle. He doesn't even have his golden age up yet. That TC is firing. We can see him selling the wood he just got, trying to get a little bit of stone. Is he just going to build another TC? No. No, you wouldn't.
That would be so greedy. There's no way. That'd be so greedy.
Now he's trying his best at just getting a few spears out here. He's got 2 out now, but only 1 dervish left to carry him through. Trying to time this out perfectly, but LucifroN, he's not looking at slowing down. We see what Lords of Lancaster being built more and more. But now the villagers under that TC, they are still going to be in a bit of danger here. He does get an emplacement on one of his towers, and maybe this is exactly what Anotand was hoping he would have time for. Now the villagers, they do pop right inside, and we do have the TC fire trying its best, but these are still Feudal Age spearmen. They're not going to do that great. The dervish needs to get to safety. The hobblars get a beautiful surround, and the dervish is stuck. He's going to go down.
Brutal pickups here. Anotand just taking it on the chin. LucifroN just being absolutely surgical with these surrounds. Able to get both the dervishes. That's the entire Feudal Age that essentially was lost for Anotand. That whole age up. Those resources have been now drained down into the toilet and are gone. LucifroN is just completely in the driver's seat. There's only 1 military unit right now for Anotand. He's got 1 horseman. That is it. LucifroN just has unfettered access to the base. This is not looking good for Anotand.
Anotand is trying his best to just get every bit of food he can to make more spears. Getting a camel as well. That industry wing, I don't know how he feels about this after that. Maybe in a lot of this world, he might be thinking, hey, I could have gone for, you know, military wing maybe. This could keep me alive against all of this, but at the same time, would it? There were so many units that he had to handle, and now we see the yeoman follow up as well. We've got a dervish in the queue. Anotand is the one who is barely holding on, and now needs to find a way to kill something. Because right now, LucifroN is not losing anything to this. He's just causing idle time, making sure that the food that is under that TC is the only food that he ever gets to touch.
Military numbers are almost 10 to 1 right now. I mean, I don't know how you come back from this. Like, it's just cataclysmically, unfortunately bad for you. And, you know, this is the tricky thing with those Lords of Lancaster. If you don't have a good answer to really heavy units pretty early on in the game, you're kind of just toast. And I think going naked fast castle, just doesn't quite work against a determined House of Lancaster that wants to play this kind of strat. And the barracks they're reinforcing just right inside the base. I feel like Anotand needed to build units. He decided to go for walls. Unfortunately, walls don't fight back, and this is kind of the outcome.
Anotand is getting a bit more food here. A few more spears in the mix. He needs to find a way to handle those Hoppalars, and the Hoppalar numbers are getting a lot scarier because with those spears, they're going to break through them. But at the same time, with the right amount of yeomen, you're quickly going to tear them down. LucifroN is in a position now where he can also just decide, hey, I'm going to go castle. But for him, he doesn't need to. He just needs to keep this pressure up, and that's exactly what he's doing here. This is not the Castle Age matchup that you are worried about fighting. You've got the units, and you're ready to fight this. We do see not a single relic made its way back yet, even though we do have that mosque, and we have a unit out there, the dervish, looking for a little bit of a relic, but we do see some damage here coming out on the other side, but at the same time, this is very far from what he needs. He needs a lot of those little hits.
Villagers just running circles around the base, trying to stay alive. Having that Lancer in the back of LucifroN's base is actually a really good idea. I do really like that. Slow down, stem the tide from its source. Unfortunately, it just might not be enough at this point. He's so far behind. Definitely been placed behind the 8-ball here and just trying to wiggle his way out of it. He's doing a lot of good idle time, however. That one Lancer getting a lot of value. Again, though, the question is, can it do enough value to cover up a deficit of 30+ units?
Now that tower really shows us how powerful an emplacement can be. Every single unit that runs under there is definitely not going to have a great time. This is a very important moment for Anotand, though. Picking off these units, this is what he needs. He needs to trade 1 for 5. And then he should be all right, at least for a while. But the problem is just that food. He doesn't have access to food. He's just gonna starve himself out as time goes on. No access to the gold either. So Anotand now floating quite a bit of food here. I wonder if this is just one of those moments where he's like, I'm just gonna build something and hopefully it will be enough. The Hoppalar production has completely stopped, and now Yeoman is the army that you can see LucifroN is investing in.
I think he's in a tough spot here. I mean, now that he's got spears, he's going to have Yeoman running into his base. So the moment he gets the counter he needs, in come the Yeoman right here. And he's got a couple of camels, but just not nearly enough mass to do anything. Again, picking off the reinforcements and idling the vills was kind of the best use he could use for those 4. Because in a direct fight, he just doesn't have the manpower for it, frankly. And as we see here, just diving the base now, LucifroN kind of knowing that he could just do what he wants. There's that relic there, so you know, maybe something could happen. That dervish might have gotten killed though. So again, just a really rough spot. I mean, just not much that Anotand can do, and that's been the way of the game for the last 5 minutes.
Anotand holding on by a thread here. LucifroN looking to start the reverse sweep. He wants to get this show on the road, but Anotand, he's giving it his all. He wants to keep this game going for as long as possible. The TC fire, hoping the yeomen will all die off so the spears can finally get some work done. But they're going straight for the tower too. They burn this thing down. No more units will fall, they say. And that's exactly what they're going for. A few villagers as a reward for breaking that down. Ooh, inside. Is that a camel?
Well, it was camel. It's now past tense entirely.
Cameled. And the Gulam though, the Gulam is doing work, but there's a lot of yeomen here, so eventually that will not be enough. But the Gulams, they are working their way through villages migrating. Like this is Serengeti, but they're trying their best. And the Gulam numbers, he just needs to keep these back and make sure that they attack at the right moment. LucifroN, he's invested a lot here, but look at those vills. They are just constantly running for their lives. And now they are the target, no longer the military units as priority. He does, I just need to kill these boys, and it's going to get even harder, because then you have nothing to put in your TC.
No, I'm starting to think your dog might be onto something there, Whammon. Doggo was saying, oh, you know, maybe, and so far we're seeing, well, a reverse sweep starts with one game, and so far, I would say for LucifroN, as far as our reverse sweep chances go, so good. And chances improved greatly. Winning 2 games after this seems a lot more reasonable than winning all 3. Getting the first one under his belt is a big pickup here. And I think we can almost all but confirm that this is going to be LucifroN's game. I don't know how he would lose it at this point. Anotand really dragging this one out, though. Just kind of refusing to concede and move on to the next one. Clearly, though, the writing is on the wall. This game is just over.
He's done a pretty good job at keeping most of his villagers alive, and I want you guys to notice, in all of this chaos, only 6 villagers have fallen, and more stone is being gathered. So he cleaned up a significant amount of units here, but still, we have a ratio that speaks volumes, and a TC firing away at everything they can. Villagers now at 7 kills, and Anotand asking himself, okay, if I get Imperial, do I just go Eco-Wing and catch up? Yeah, that's what he thinks.
It's down to 28 units. Like, that's not an unreasonable number. I'm kind of in awe. Like, I just kind of wrote this game off, but now I'm looking at it again going, it's only 28 units. I mean, it's not good. You've been idle for what feels like 5 years, but you're alive. The villagers are getting harried everywhere, but you still only are down about 10 villagers overall. Maybe you can work this one back. I mean, it's just the numbers are down to 27. I'm kind of impressed that Anotand has dragged it out this long, frankly.
Anotand is just showing us that he's very resilient and not going to be making the next games that easy for LucifroN either. Now, I like this about LucifroN. He's already got his manners up and running, but now floating quite a bit of wood here. And the question now becomes, what is he doing with that? Is this just because he's so focused on getting this pressure up and running? Is he planning something in Castle? And Castle is definitely what he's planning. As we can see, he's now floating some resources, ensuring he is going to be able to respond. But we do see some of these villagers out here already on the board to get every bit of resource they can. Anotand is doing his best at just raiding and causing villager kills. I love that between all of this, he still killed 2 vills. Beautiful play there by Anotand.
I mean, it's keeping things much more even than it has a right to be at this point. The White Tower is coming up for LucifroN. It's like he slowed down the assault and the unit production to get to Castle H himself. And now we kind of move on. And, you know, if Anotand comes back and wins this, it'll be one of the greatest comebacks of all time, I think. I mean, it just looked so dead. He still looks, to my mind, fairly dead with no military here. LucifroN really slowed things down. I think he just kind of ran out of food there and had to move out on some outside sources. But with Castle H coming up, and with the disparity, there's a disparity of vills there. He's up by about 10, and the military number's still in his favor. I mean, but then again, 7 Gulams and 2 Camels against only 26 Yeomen. Can Anotand do enough damage to get back in this game? It feels inconceivable, but if he does it, again, it'll be one of the greatest comebacks of all time.
Now, the problem is just Anotand does not have access to any food at this point. So for him, every food source has been cut off. Every bit of hope has been cut off. And unless he can build a ton of farms and have an eco untouched for ages, but the Hobblars are already standing at the ready at the berries. He knows exactly what he's going to be aiming for and says, nuh-uh, that's not going to happen today. But he does try to keep the action going. LucifroN now getting himself a few knights in the mix as well is going to make this a lot harder. With the Gulams, they don't do too well against the knights either. So with the charge, you can deal a lot of damage and handle most of this army. The camels, they are going to be a bit harder to deal with, but the crossbows are in the mix to make sure that this becomes not as big of a feat for LucifroN as he wants, as Anotand wants it to be. Now that one Earl's God absolutely causing havoc just on this gold with the barracks being in the base. This is just going to be a constant annoyance for him. He should make a play to try and get it down, but Anotand's starting to catch up in military. The problem is just it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and if he loses what he has, it's just over. I mean, again, just not having access to food. He's got a little bit coming in now, but again, it feels like the damage has been done, and Anotand's on life support, but he's still technically alive, and you wonder, can he wake up from the coma? Can it happen? Like he's doing a lot of the things right that you would need to do to get lucky into a comeback. He's getting out in the food. He's keeping units alive. He's trying to stay in it. It feels like, though, this is still LucifroN's game to lose. I mean, it feels like we're in a procedural amount of waiting time. We're just kind of, going through, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, waiting for everything to finish up here. But that said, Anotand is just not making it easy, and he's just kind of staying through it and staying the course. And I probably would have GG'd a while ago myself and just moved on to the next one. But he's not allowing any easy wins here for LucifroN. Really wants to get that 3-0. I just feel like the other foot's about to drop. And when it does, it's just going to be over.
Now, I love the fact that LucifroN is the one picking up the relics when Eobid's is the one in castle first. Those dervishes brought one back home, but never got it quite inside. So LucifroN's slowly going to be cleaning up this map for the rest of those relics and hoping to get even further ahead. +2 ranged attack now in, and with the amount of yeomen he's got, this is going to be a pretty good call for him. Now the camels, they are out here to shut down a few stray yeomen and the archers as well, but this should signal to LucifroN that the army is out of position and he can push in. But he says, nah, let's pull back, get our masses together, we've done the damage, we will get the attack at exactly the right time. A knight coming in now is just going to mean a little bit of idle time, and maybe a vil kill or two if Anotand looks away.
One knight in there just wrecking havoc. It's only been 15 vil kills. I mean, you mentioned earlier when he was in the base that he only had like a handful of villagers killed, and I'm still just amazed that that was the case. I guess all those walls on the wood really kept him alive, which is really the reason Anotand is even still playing this game right now. He's picking off knights left and right. I'm waiting for, looking at the food income. Suddenly Anotand's back onto 800 food again. And now I'm sitting here scratching my head going, is he going to bring it? Can he bring it back? That would be just incredible.
Now there is still a pretty big deer pack there in the south, on the east for him. So he can quickly jump onto there if he felt like it. But again, limited resources. And LucifroN, he's got the map control, so that's only if LucifroN allows him to get that. But we do see some red dots moving out to the food there on the east. So that is most likely also going to get shut down with those two yeomen wrecking a complete wood economy. Camel, on the other hand, doing the same. But now, Anotand's back where we saw him earlier, stuck in his base, waiting for a miracle.
He's definitely done everything he can to prepare himself for a miracle, but again, it just feels like LucifroN's just kind of, the map control's there, the infrastructure he needs is there. At this point, he just needs to get a big enough mass and end it. He's got double the military still. The army value is doubled. Somehow the destroyed value is a lot closer than it has a right to be, though. I think that's the crazy thing. I think LucifroN stood underneath the town center for so long and lost so many units. It put him a little further behind than maybe he thought he would be by doing this. But here he is once again back under the TC, trying to make a statement and end this game. Archers trying to stand up, but once the front line goes down, those knights are going to get on it, and that will be the game. So trying to wait for a miracle, but unfortunately for him, it'll be Anotand with the other win. Or sorry, LucifroN with the win.
And LucifroN definitely did not get that one easily. Anotand made him work for every bit of it. Anotand was like, I'm going to find a comeback mechanic. And honestly, I feel like for a lot of it, there was a bit of a moment where he started to breathe again. LucifroN then just taking a pan, smacking him right over the head, straight back onto the floor, and says, let's go to the next map, boy. I'll show you how it's done. Now, for the rest of this, LucifroN, he still has a few tricks up his sleeve. Now, sure, House of Lancaster is one of the civilizations that is feared at the pro scene right now, especially at the top level. So it is a pretty big civilization to win on. But he's got French on Socotra, and honestly, I didn't think that French would be the pick on Socotra, but it makes sense. You get a knight, you make things happen, but at the same time, the TC is so close to the wood line. This is a tough one, especially against the Macedonians.
Yeah, say interesting enough, Macedonians. So I said earlier I didn't think we'd see it, but I guess LucifroN really did not want the French Byzantines look. So Macedonian squeaks in, and LucifroN's French squeaks in on Socotra of all maps. We're in for a fun matchup here, and you know, I could believe in a reverse sweep. The doggo has spoken, and the doggo was right for this game. So I'm not putting my bets on either one. I definitely think this could go either way.
Now everyone believing.
That said.
Yeah?
That said, LucifroN with French scares me a lot, so I'll see if the doggo thinks it's that possible. But
now, keep in mind, Anotand. Oh, see, this is the problem. Whenever I say Anotand, I keep wanting to say Anotand, because Anotand is the one who chose this map. He's like, Baldland, not for us, but Socotra, definitely. Now, LucifroN, he just killed the boar, and you can see the wolf has something to say about, you killed my wild friend, but you will go down too. And now, LucifroN going out on the boar, that feels pretty good. However, Anotand, he's already prepped him a sweet little answer.
this map is so wild to me. It just, everything feels so close.
That spearman is going to be enough to actually shut down the boar gathering here. And definitely, ooh, we do see a quick rush up on the... Oh no, this is so tough. Now, it might come up, but the villagers will be left so low, which just means Radari are going to have a lovely day against them a little bit later.
Yeah, pretty good value here for one spear, and the idle time you're causing as well. Again, this is the tricky thing about getting aggressive on the map like this early, is it really isn't hard to just run up. It's like a screen away, and that's how close these DCs are to each other, essentially. Screen and a half away, so getting there is just not going to take that long. Spearman waiting out there, just kind of being a spy now.
Now, it does force a reaction from the opponent, which makes sense. You want to delay the French as much as you can. Him building a tower was a pretty significant investment here, but you do see that second spear coming out too. And this now begs the question, are we going to see some action on the gold? Could we take a quick look at the red base? I just want to check how close that gold is. Press on the TC, please, sir. Oh no, that's definitely covered. No, there's no action on the gold anywhere today. This man has a safe gold. But at least there's two spears on a little bit of sneaky shenanigans here. Anotand tower rushing himself.
Oh. Trying to hide it in the stealth forest. I think the scout got a look at it though. But a fun, aggressive play trying to sneak this one in.
The tower also sees it.
Yeah, the tower also sees it.
But this is already a pretty good amount of value. The ball gathering is so fast, and you're already setting yourself up for a pretty solid transition with your, I was going to say, with your villagers being able to run back safely, but there's a spearman waiting around the corner who does want to get a little poke in on those vills. Now, there was a bit of idle time, but again, a significant investment here from the Macedonian dynasty. And Anotand now investing in a tower, 3 spearmen. He's definitely going to stop the boar, but it's a pretty big cost, especially considering those spears are going to take a while before they actually add value to anything else.
Man, look how close everything is on this map. I'm going to keep saying that because it feels, after some of these other maps like Badlands and Baldlands, where it just feels so open and wide, this map is so claustrophobic. Spears moving on towards the tower. They're going to take some damage though, trying to get onto the vills. Not a lot there for them though. That one might go down. It's going to be close. Looks like he'll get away.
Now, I'm a little surprised to see him pulling those 2 villagers back to try, I guess, to save the tower. The one scout just not being enough for him to be able to stop that. But now, LucifroN, he is aging up, and getting that knight out is going to be great. However, this gold on this side is a lot more susceptible to raiding than the one we looked at on the other side. And that is the major difference here. We're in a position now where LucifroN's gold is completely covered by the TC. And I feel that Anotand does not have that same privilege, especially being the one playing against the Knight civilization.
Imperial Hippodrome coming up right now for Anotand. Meanwhile, School Cavalry is already over halfway there for LucifroN. We'll be getting into Age 2 really soon. Good look at the base right there. You know, I'm always tempted on this map to, and this is not viable. It really isn't. Maybe not unless this game somehow went way longer than it has a right to build like a dock and go send a warship around just to go mess with the gold vills. Which I guess, you know, it could be viable in some situations. I don't know how viable it'd be here at this level, though.
Players do that all the time, by the way. They do it, but you have to time it right. Because in the early game, when you invest resources into getting a warship out, you have to understand that this puts you behind on land significantly. So if there's a backup gold for him, he's very easily just going to translate over the that. And considering that this is Socotra, or EGC Socotra, as far as I know, the gold, the backup gold, is also next to the water. So it does leave a little bit of room for doing something that way. But as far as I know, players haven't been playing this version of Socotra for too long. I think it's been out for a week now. So it's not a playstyle that I think most people are used to. I think there's only one safe gold on this map right now that isn't next to the water.
Yeah, of course, the answer to that was you could always build some sprinkled towers and try and end off the ships a little bit, but definitely could get annoying there. We'll see for the player. But again, you mentioned the reason why you might not see that, and it's that the moment you stop investing into land, bad things tend to happen to you, which is why we probably won't see that coming up, but it's something to keep in mind in the back of your brains there. As we see the Hippodrome now popping out the first units. Meanwhile, one Royal Knight on the field, and wow, just like that, they're already facing off against each other. It's just that close of a distance. As the Knight trying to keep up, but he's a little heavier, a little slower, can't chase down the horseman.
Now those two villagers being so far forward, they know that they're sitting ducks if they keep staying out here. The deer, moving out here on the deer, it speaks volumes. You're in a map where you need to move out for your food, at least in the early game. But LucifroN, he's got some shenanigans on the way, and you called it. He's going for that ship. But again, this means that he is delaying himself from something else. So he's going to be able to get the ship out, deny the gold. But what is this going to cost? Anotand's still investing on land. He's got a lot of spears. He's going to be able to stop most night raids. So LucifroN needs to get good value out of this.
I'm a little surprised. I would have thought that of the two, maybe Macedonians would have more to gain by denying the gold from French than the other way around. Because I feel like Macedonians can use the gold, but they're not the ones making Royal Knights. I was actually almost expecting it to be the other way around. So we'll see. That boat's now on its way around. I just don't know that it's going to get as much value as maybe it would against a French player.
Now, we do see the boat sneaking on in, finding his way around. He's getting nice and close, and I think it's about to be a pretty big surprise for him here. The scout definitely did not see that dock just yet. He's been stuck there with the army. Anotand now, he's got a pretty sizable army here, though, and that tower might be tickets. But the knights, they charge in, hoping to get a little bit of work done. They get a horse, pays the price, but the spearmen will survive, or most of them at least, for another day.
Not as many knights in the field because of that boat, which is almost there. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it now. Those knights gathering up, and here it comes. There are a lot in gold now, though, because at first there wasn't, but now there is. And the first shot is a go. And wow, good damage, too, on those vills. Might get one down.
Ooh, and one pays the price. Wow, yeah, getting a shot like that all feels pretty good. But the knights, they're stuck between a few of these spears. No, luckily, they make it out alive, and the archer will come out pretty soon and shut down the rest of this. But the knights are charging in. He is controlling those so well. And this is why LucifroN is so feared on French. You can see how accurate this man is with every single charge he can get. Now going straight for... Ooh, hello there, Mr. Market. Are we buying stone?
Or at the very least, needs to find an alternate source of gold now that that boat's sitting right on it. But he could be buying stone as well. Got a tower now coming up. I do like what Anotand is doing on the field here. Really taking control of the map. Is moving out onto that board. It's all his now. And getting some forward production to boot. That's actually really fun.
Now, Anotand, with the extra horseman investment, he is going to double down on this. LucifroN wants to be sure he's safe. Keeps going for the archers. He's going to snipe out those spears, he says, between all of it. But right now, he needs to stop this thing from going up, because the moment it does, reinforcements are going to be so close, and that boar is going to feed the whole of the Macedonian dynasty army. Now, the ship doing some good work, also getting a house behind all of this. Anotand absolutely enjoying a little bit of this play here, But like I said, there's one safe gold that he could go for. And now my question is this something he prioritizes, or is he just going to double down on spearmen and horses?
It's kind of a good question, right? Does he need any gold for anything? Like, what does he need? I mean, he's not really making heavy units. He's nowhere near Castle Age. I don't know that he, again, that's kind of why I was a little surprised it was LucifroN going for it, because I don't know that Anotand needs the gold as much as LucifroN does. He seems to be doing pretty fine without so far, at any rate.
Now that tower does pay off by getting one of those horses, and the army is in position. The knights, they do want to heal up a little bit. LucifroN kiting backwards, and you will know that LucifroN is going to target fire those spears. He does not want to lose this tower. He needs to be so careful. The villagers, they're in a little bit of danger. They get out, repair it, just to get a little bit more breathing room. And the archers get their damage down. The horses, though, they want to get on top. But the spear numbers are dwindling, and you can see Anotand frantically trying to reinvest into those numbers.
Yeah, the numbers of the knights looking kind of scary. And, you know, there's not a lot of silver coming in from Anotand. That is one thing I guess the gold doesn't provide anymore. Not getting extra silver for that. He has no upgrades either. At this point, once the knight numbers start getting scary, LucifroN kind of slowed himself down by getting that boat to begin with. But now that he's had some time to continue getting the gold he needs, the knight numbers are growing, and this is getting a little scary for Anotand. LucifroN with a bunch of Royal Knights is no pushover.
Now, the French archer numbers start to scare anyone, even a Feudal Age Radari that will be popping out pretty soon. Now, this is the problem where this map becomes huge. You are getting into a position where your opponent is going to be right on top. Oh my goodness, I say right on top, but that's Anotand. Anotand's right on top of those vills, gets 2 kills. But keep in mind, this is French. French, they get up villages a little bit faster than the Macedonian dynasty. So it is going to look like a pretty equal count here. Now, those horses are still looking for some damage there, but now LucifroN is the one out here on the ball, trying to get that, and he will need to be careful because all of a sudden the rest of the reinforcements are here, and our Radari has arrived. The archers trying their best at just sniping out all the spears so the knights can do the rest of the work.
That tower getting a lot of value right now, taking out those archers. And now, horse is able to get on top as well. The cavalry doing their job. Now, are there enough spears to take care of the knights? It's a lot of knights. I don't know about that, but at least enough to push them back a little ways, which is all that Anotand needs. Getting onto that food is really critical. And if he just moves out, there is that one gold vein he could go and get out towards, because obviously there's that. He's right there. You could get onto the gold if you needed. But as it is, he's just pumping all of his stuff back into spears for the time being.
Now that one ship definitely got its value.
Yes, most certainly. Getting a Vil and then denying that gold vein. A risky adventure to go for at the beginning, especially when you're trying to pump knights out, but I would say it's definitely paid for itself now.
I do see that the villagers here are still trying to capitalize on every bit of food. That is definitely something they're going to need, but oh, the horses, they are looking feisty. We see the archers just trying to target fire all they can. Villagers trying to be a little bit of a sneaky shenanigans here, trying to stay alive for as long as possible as the reinforcements need to arrive, and they do arrive, but none villagers go down. Oh my goodness, LucifroN just absolutely a micro god.
I don't know how he does it.
Safe gold.
He just refuses to let Vils die. It's actually, I mean, it's same thing with his knight too, his knight micro. He keeps them alive. It's not easy to do. It really isn't. You can see those Vils, some of them very low health, but hey, they're alive.
Now this push coming out here again, but we do see those military buildings just firing arrows. And you ask yourself, how is this even happening? But those archers now, again, overextending quite a bit here. It feels like he's very desperate to get this tower down, but Anotand's army is pretty scary. Now we're seeing a few of the upgrades coming on in, and Anotand, even though he hasn't had the gold, you do get that passive silver constantly. So it eventually starts adding up. Now the archer numbers from LucifroN not slowing down, and the knights are feeling pretty confident about this. They go far forward in again, and the archers perfectly sniping absolutely everything. The knight numbers are at a point now where you feel pretty confident about diving under a little tower.
Well, the one good thing for Anotand out of this is he has moved on to that one safe gold. However, I don't think it's actually that safe. We take a look at that right there towards the southwest. There seems to be some action. Some kind of unit was attacking over there. Looks like a knight was onto it, but getting some gold now, but also being attacked on the berries. There's a lot of back and forth, and this is why Socotra is such a fun map to watch. Just lots of action, everything's so close and jumbled up together. But Anotand has got gold. You can see the silver count rising as well. He's going to start getting some of those upgrades he probably really needs to continue on to this elongated feudal game that we're getting.
Now, with all of these villagers, they are equalizing. That's what I love to see. The 8-4, and we still have an equalized villager count. LucifroN, though, he's pretty fine with all of this. Now, LucifroN going for a ram. And finally, we're getting a little bit more ram action, and I'm happy to see this because he's been struggling with this tower, sacrificing a lot of his units into this.
Yeah, that tower has been a thorn in his side for a good couple minutes now. A ram, it says to me, I'm really sick of this thing. It's going down no matter what.
Now he does run out here and see what's going on out here on this very sneaky gold, but with all those spears in position, he's not able to capitalize on that just yet. LucifroN, though, he's running low on food. And he's got to ask himself, how long can I keep this push up? Oh, the ram going out forward, extending a bit too much. We do see the horses getting us around. They will be able to pick this off, but the horses might go down. It actually feels pretty worth it here. He definitely got a few horses behind all of this. The archers doing some good work. But now the knights are going to be in position for this. Archer sniping down another horse. And spearmen are next on the menu, but he does need to be careful here. The horse numbers are scary. And the knights, they keep running into the spears, but the trades are still looking good for LucifroN. Anotand, though, he's the one that has access to all that gold still and a lot of food on the rest of the map.
I find it so ironic that he spent all that time to build a ram. This is why they don't usually build rams. In case anyone at home is wondering, why don't these guys just build rams? Because that always happens, it feels like. These guys are so good at micro, and they're kind of lumbering and slow. I find it funny that the damage to that tower was only dealt by the knights there. The ram didn't even touch it.
Now, the ram was purely a bait.
It kind of was, and it worked. I mean, in that sense, it worked wonderfully, like you said. It got a couple of horsemen out of it, so 200 wood and a little bit of time for 3 horses. I'd take that trade just about any day.
This could be pretty devastating, though. This is a massive raid, so even if he just loses a handful of vills here, like 3, 4, it's about the food. The information that LucifroN now has is Anotand is as starved as I am, and he's willing to go out on the map. While this raid is going, another knight could pop out pretty easily anywhere. The knights get another nice round on a villager there. And the villager's out here on the gold, but not really the damage or not really the resource they need. They need food and they need it now.
Yeah, that's becoming a bit of a problem here. Food, as this game goes on, that's going to be a continued issue. There's just not a lot of places to go get food on this map, right? As the deer get consumed, as the berries get consumed, there's a lot of food on this map for the size, but none of it is safe. As we see here, even the town center is not very safe as horses and Radari and other things coming in, dealing damage, forcing the vills inside. But meanwhile, that's a lot of knights. 15 knights, 32 archers walking straight towards the Imperial Hippodrome, trying to catch the units of Anotand unaware and unready. They're running back to the base, trying to find refuge. They're going to walk right into the boat on the other side of this, ironically enough. It's just looking pretty good for LucifroN. The numbers are just in his favor, 54 to 26. It tells the story in my mind. If you look at the army value, almost doubled, actually more than doubled for LucifroN.
Now, LucifroN, he was struggling for food there for a bit, but with him being left alone, he is doing a happy recovery. Now picking off the villagers absolutely everywhere. The horses that killed his villagers just did not make up for that difference, and now he's the one in the lead. The boar definitely supplying a whole army of resources for a while, but now Anotand is running dry. He's getting more spears, not ready to back down just yet, but there's 5 villagers in there about to be swimming with the fishes, and that they are, all 5 of them dead. 21 villager kills now for LucifroN. He is on fire.
Yeah, this game is not looking good for Anotand, and I am once again brought back to the memory of your doggo going, maybe reverse sweep could be on the menu. It's very close to being a 2-2 game right now, an even series that'll go the distance. Your dog might have a prophetic gene inside, because it is so far saying that maybe he's doing a lot of work as we see yet another ram popping up here for LucifroN. He wants to end it.
Now, Anotand, he's got the buildings to fire, but those buildings are countered by said ram. And ram right now is in a little bit of danger with all these archers that he's got here. He's quickly going to fire at anything that comes his way. 41 archers. People keep saying That Fuel H Radari is broken, but not if you throw 42 archers at it. Now the spearmen, they're going to be the front line. The knights pull back. He's kiting this perfectly. LucifroN doing an absolute amazing job at keeping most of these under control. He wants to pull the horses out so the knights can do the work. Archers focused on every single spear, and they are falling like flies.
That tower finally went down as well. You know this game is at a tipping point when that thing finally is swept off the map. And to your point, yeah, when you've got 40 archers, you can kind of throw them at almost any problem you have in AoE. If you got 40 to 50 archers, they'll take care of just about anything. And we're seeing that on display here, and in a good choke point too. LucifroN taking excellent fights. The writing is on the wall. This one is just about over as he starts chasing them all the way back to the base. The archers running towards the shores, but there's no boats except for enemy boats to help welcome them. Not going to be good, and that will end it. We have a 2-2 series. And again, I'm thinking your dog was onto something. This reverse sweep is looking very possible now.
Called by GG Dog, cursed by GG Dog, Anotand. Guys, this is very important now, because keep in mind, what happens later this year is we have the Homestead Cup. And this means Anotand is going to come face to face with GG Dog. And he's going to need to confront GG Dog about these predictions that she made, possibly cursing him into this reverse sweep against LucifroN. But this means we have one more map left, and I am so happy that we get a 3-2 of this game, because a 3-0 just would not feel the same. So let's go see what that last matchup is for us soon enough, but I'm ready for it. I am so ready. Oh, and finally Byzantines, no Japanese. LucifroN says no Japanese, not at all.
They go with Sengoku Daimyo himself. And you know what? Anyone's game. Anyone's game. For those who don't know, Whammon's cute little doggo, we asked the doggo, the GG dog, if there was a chance for a reverse sweep. And she, not once, but twice, gave us the most clear maybe that there's a chance I've ever seen a dog give. It was clear as day. That dog was like, yeah, there's a chance. And we are seeing it on display here. Story of the day. I am beaming right now. You can't see my face right now, but I am just beaming at the thought of this dog being a prophetic influence in the Age of Empires 4 scene. This is what we need more of in AoE 4, is the dogs. We need more dogs.
If a Marine Lord's cat can win him at tournaments, then there has to be a representative on the other animal side as well. But I'm actually pretty interested in seeing the fact that Golden Horde was chosen as a civ they don't want to play against for this one. Sengoku being let through, because a lot of people, they're saying Golden Horde's good, but Sengoku is on another level. Apparently Bald Land is just a map where you feel like Sengoku can be shut down, and it makes a lot of sense. You have your yatais all around the map. You don't have a very safe yatai, because of course they are going to need to move out. Your Matsuri is not going to cover too many resources before it also runs out of its potential, I guess. Especially because the wood lines are so small. So this is maybe the reason that Anotand was like, hey, let's not do Golden Horde, and let's just rather play against that Sengoku. But in 20 seconds, we'll find out what this opening is going to look like. But we've had a very clear picture today. Japan is not allowed. Not at all. This is just... Nope. Not in this world.
Byzantines on Bald Land, I actually really like that choice. I think it's a very strong civ for this map in particular. Likewise, I think Sengoku is also a pretty good choice on this. I mean, I think Sengoku is a good choice almost anywhere, honestly. I feel like they're a very, very powerful civ. The Byzantines on Bald Land, I've seen this played a number of times, and I've in tournaments like this, and with usually pretty good success. At least, at the very least, it's always competitive. So I'm excited to see what these two civs have in store for each other. I think I think I like Sengoku here just a little bit better. But Anotand's also a really good player and has lost 2 in a row after winning 2 in a row. So we will see. We go the distance. Game number 5 as Anotand in yellow as Byzantines in the western corner faces off against LucifroN for the final time today, who's in the red as Sengoku Daimyo in the eastern half of the map. Oh boy, now, I am excited.
Anotand's giving us the Anotand special already. We've seen Anotand do this. Going for the Hippodrome pretty early on is the name of the game for Anotand. He is not a man who shies away from the Hippodrome play. And with him starting out with that mill, we know that this is most likely in store for us. Now, LucifroN going here for a pretty interesting play. Because what we're seeing here is him going for, of course, the wood line instead of the gold and reselling the gold. But of course, it makes sense. You're on a map where your gold is not as fruitful as on regular old ones. And Anotand on the Byzantines not going for a single drop of stone. Yeah, not at all. He's just going for a clean, fast feudal.
Yeah, this screams hippodrome to my ears and my eyes. Going straight to the berries. Everything. It looks like we'll have a hippodrome coming up. It's going to be aggressive from Anotand, which I like here. I think Sengoku, if you let them just do their thing, I think their eco scales way too well. You got to disrupt them somehow. So that seems to be what Anotand is thinking. LucifroN kind of understanding as keeping his first food cart very close to home. I'm curious how much it's getting right now. It's next to the berries and quite a number of sheep. We'll see how much it's sitting at. 60, so a full 60, so actually worth it to keep it right here, actually.
Now, we'll see how much that investment is still gonna go on with, but Anotand's horses, they will be able to shut down anything that they step outside the space. And that's the issue here for the Sengoku dynasty, and I love this, because Anotand, he's picked a civilization that can handle most of what makes Sengoku good. So this Matsuri, he's got out, and the Yatai moving far out. This Yatai, it's going to be fine to move out, but you need to pull that thing back pretty quickly the moment you hear that feudal age coming on out. Now, I would like to take a moment to look at that Matsuri. Could we go and just observe its beauty? Matsuri, not Yatai. Matsuri. There we go, guys. We see the Matsuri, and we see another Yatai coming on out. So Yatais are those little cards that give you passive food over time based on how much food surrounds them. Now, after a while, they spawn this little trader that increases the Matsuri's influence. Now, looking at the Matsuri spawn, the Matsuri build position, you can see that this thing is only covering that tiny wood line, add another piece of a tiny wood line, but it takes a while to actually give you the bonus. So with this bad boy, he's not going to have this for too long in the range of influence before you need to move out on the map. So it just doesn't give you the same value as that we are used to. But this man actually just focusing on getting the age up, which is pretty surprising here, making sure that he gets this up as quickly as possible. I love this about LucifroN. He went and he put one sheep next to that Matsuri to make sure that the villagers had something to do. And the age up is ready to click. But he needs to know this is going to be a very dangerous one. Koko Township up with 5. He needs to find a way to deal with any horse that dares comes to his base. And we see more villagers onto the wood. He needs to get a production building out as fast as he can.
Yeah, I'm expecting Anotand to get very aggressive here in just a couple seconds. That Imperial Hippodrome with only one cistern, it's all hands on deck to pumping out aggressive units. The Koko Township's going to be helpful here for LucifroN. He's going to need every ounce he can get out of it. But unfortunately for him, Koko Township's not enough to go toe-to-toe with the Hippodrome. He's going to need more production unit buildings, like you said. I'm curious what he's going to go for here. You're going to be going against cavalry. There's a temptation, I think, to want to go with your own cavalry, knowing that they do bonus damage. But in my experience, I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's definitely going to want to consider some spears here as well.
So this is a part where we need to listen to the pros. And I recently asked this question to Beastie. I was like, hey, how do I deal with Byzantines going for Hippodrome? And his answer was Yari. And I'm like, okay, but what if they go for Yari? I'm like, well, what if they go for Yari? The answer was always just Yari. You just make your own horses, and then you'll have an answer to most of what they do. Your horses eventually will run faster, eventually do bonus damage, but the most important part is that movement speed that you get from it.
Yeah.
So you paired with that Koko Township, you can handle most of what your opponent can throw at you. And we do see that. The stable is coming on out. LucifroN getting the same ideas as Beastie, saying Yari is the answer to everything. Now, those shinobis, they are just going to scare the horse off for now. That's not going to do permanent damage. You just want to make sure that it doesn't get you when you still need a drop of that gold to keep on going.
Yeah, we could see that with the changes, not enough damage there to take out the horseman, but enough to slow it down, which is important. Both slow it down in terms of what it can do and literally just slow it down a little bit. But yeah, the Yari are so good. They're one of the best cavalry units in the game. They're one of the most fun cavalry units to use in the game as well because of the difference they can make in those battles. I really love also the way this Yatai is just tucked away in the corner there. Getting the boar. The scout's sitting there, but he does see the food truck. But very aggressive. LucifroN went with a multiple. I think he went for all 3 Yatai right off the bat. So you can see the food truck now running home. It needs to get that thing home before the trader pops out. If that trader pops out, then the horseman could just kill it, and that would be very unfortunate for LucifroN. He wouldn't be able to get the plus 5% back at the Matsuri.
And that 5% is usually where things start to spiral out of control. But we don't see the horseman actually coming for the backup here. And that is just running even further away. He's trying to pull the horses as far away as possible. The trader, though, he might be paying a very, very hefty price, but it might just be the price that he's willing to do for this. Now, 2 horses already out for LucifroN. He's going, his own Yari will be having to head this way to try and stop this. But losing a Yatai this early on is massive. And that's exactly what Anotand was expecting to happen here. Now, that horse is really, really focused on it, but you can see this one is the first one who will fall today. And Anotand knows its value. He's going to get it before that trader pops out, and it just means a lot of wasted time.
Yeah, I would focus on the trader
doesn't
right
notice.
there.
He doesn't notice.
Getting the trader through is such a huge thing. If he loses that, then that's just so much wasted. But that 5%, that's 5% to your eco right there. Oh, but now he knows. Now he's going for it. Will he get there in time? It's a long way to walk. I don't know if it's going to get home. Oh, wham, and I don't think it's going to see the light of home again. It's going to be lost. Those horsemen on top of it, and you can kiss your 5% back on everything right there. That
and
feels rough.
Losing both Yatai alongside this is massive. Anotand has gotten his value that he needs. And LucifroN, he is going to be in a little bit of a tougher spot here. We can see he wants to go castle. And going castle against the Byzantines, that is a very brave move there. Because Anotand actually has a very special unit there on his side. So for Twitch chat, are we noticing those desert raiders? Yeah, no, desert raiders might just be the answer that he was looking for when dealing against those, or dealing with the Yaris, because they are going to make it a lot easier for the Yaris to just do less damage. But the mercenary desert raiders, they feel pretty good.
That completely negates what the Yari do, right? I mean, minus 20% with the camel and ease. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And that really does tip the scales a little bit in my mind.
And the villager survives. He gets 1 total, but the other one makes it out alive. The TC, though, that boy is feisty, and he takes out 2 of the... Oh, actually, just 1 camel for now. But this is a pretty massive loss. Now, the Limited are doing a good job at keeping this under control. But that 1 villager staying alive, LucifroN, he needs to find a little bit more damage here.
Yeah, it's tricky now that you gotta add desert. He was not anticipating desert raiders, that is for sure, and that does change the calculus. Thankfully for him, Anotand cannot produce those in mass. He just can't. He's restricted by how much olive oil he has and the time it takes to actually produce them. But it still throws a wrinkle in the plan, right? You gotta be mindful of when they're in the battle and when they're not. As it is, though, he does need to get some damage done, and it feels like a lot of damage has been done to him. He's only got plus 5% under his Matsuri. It really could be plus 15 or more. Unfortunately, it just isn't. And so he's left trying to figure things out from here. And all the while, Byzantines with their cisterns continues to slowly expand. And I like what LucifroN's doing here. Trying to get aggressive, trying to hit those berries in the back. The Limitine doing what they can to defend. So only able to get some idle time now. But you gotta be mindful. Byzantines can scale up and get really scary even with just the Hippodrome. I mean, those cisterns work all the same.
Now, the cisterns are going to come out a little bit slower than we usually see for the Byzantines because he hasn't invested that much onto the stone yet. But at the same time, a boost is a boost. And this LucifroN just does not have that same boost with the Yatais going down. I do see a red dot there on the boar at the top. Is there another Yatai that has moved out there to try and collect some... Yeah, brand new Yatai, getting the food he needs, and hoping that he can get that bonus back to the base as well. But LucifroN, he's making units while at the same time having one thought in mind, and that thought is castle. We all have seen a mounted samurai do the work, and that's exactly what he's hoping to do here. LucifroN, he is going to go get us around here. Ooh, and excellent. 2 villagers get trapped.
Well played there by LucifroN. Excellent time to raid. But even go get on that tower too. There's only 1 Limitine right there. You can do some more damage. He's going to keep pressing. That's going to be another villager going down. Maybe another? He's got to get out of there. Too many Limited coming in now, so he's got to backtrack out. But hey, got quite a bit of damage done right there. A couple Vil kills. It's now 4-2, so not too bad, all things considered. And he's only seconds away from Castle.
Seconds away from starting it, but the problem is there were some yellow dots out there in his base. The Sake Brewery coming out. Now, it's going to be in a pretty safe spot because, of course, you still have a lot of space around your TC. He has put his production buildings absolutely everywhere, though. But this safe gold on a map like this is massive. This just means that Anotand is going to be the one out here taking risks, while LucifroN is safely sitting in his base getting all the gold that he... at least 5 mats thereof.
Yumi Ashigaru now entering the field of play. We got 15 of those sitting in the back of the base. I love seeing these units. I love seeing them used defensively here. I think that's their best use right now. Really good. I mean, and they'll get the bonuses eventually later. I'm sure that'll be the other daimyo manner that LucifroN decides to make. But for the time being, having some Yumi just in there to kind of shoo away any Limited, shoo away any Desert Raiders. They'll do really well into those as well. Nice play from there, and the Sake Brewery only seconds away from popping up. Meanwhile, Anotand starting to save up for his own, and Golden Horn Tower, as we see right there next to the cistern. So it looks like both players opting to take this one into Castle Age.
Now, LucifroN getting the castle, this feels pretty good for Sengoku, especially in that early stages where you feel like, hey, my mounted samurai are going to clap. You have to keep in mind, his opponent has camels, and this makes it a little bit harder to really get that damage done. And what I love about this is where you just sacrifice your Yari. You're like, hey, guys, it was great knowing you. I love the fact that you guys are horses, but we have better horses in the house now. Now we get a little bit of an archer upgrade here and there. And after that, mountedsamurais.com. These
just
guys...
imagining that conversation, just like, hey, guys, so it's been really fun. Had a great feudal age. You guys are great. It's not you, it's me, but I need you guys to go run off and die now.
You served your purpose, yeah? It is time for you to die. And that's exactly what the boys are going to be doing. I would love to see the Matsuri's gather speed. Could we take a quick look at how far we are? It should be at 10%. Oh, 10%. Better than nothing, right? Better than nothing.
Is booming. Stonks. Absolute stonks right there. 10%. Loved it. And about to be 15. So I'm going to get that trader back home here a little bit. 15% or more would be great for LucifroN.
Half an HRE.
Half an HRE, yeah. And probably not even holding a candle to level 5 cisterns with the nice new water animations in there. Byzantines is fully online and looking scary. The question now is, can your mounted samurai do better? Because mounted samurai are equally as scary, but TBD, we're going to find out as both players now firmly into Castle Age.
Now, we do see a little bit of plays with the Iki monks on the side of LucifroN, and Anotand also trying to follow that up, trying to get a little bit of a relic control here. That trader going to make his way back to the base, but there are some camels who might have something to say about that. They don't spot the villagers just yet. Oh, the villagers are going to get the tower up. Camels, they have their eyes set on something else. Other villagers.
Those villagers. Oh, man. How unlucky. They might catch those villas on the way back, though.
And now, another Yatai being in a little bit of an awkward position here. Villagers trying to desperately wall this thing off, and wall off they would do. The archers in position to try and snipe a horse or two. And this is definitely worth it. Oh, he breaks the wall. He wants the Yatai to survive. Beautiful play.
I would have thought that would have been pretty good just to sacrifice it and use the archers where they're nice and safe, but sacrificing it instead. Oh, but the trader, no, kiss goodbye to 15%. It's gone. Stocks are crashing across the Sengoku Daimyo right now.
Anotand is just showing us exactly that this is not going to be an easy one for anyone. You're going to need to work for this. He picked up a ton of villagers on that berry area where the tower was being placed down, and it just was a massacre. Now the archers, though, the Yumis, they need to do some damage, but the Shinobis slow down everything, hoping for these archers to catch up, and they will get a camel and a scout, but definitely not what they envisioned. Now the mounted samurai trying to find a little bit of damage, but the reinforcements are here to try and protect. So just not finding the same damage that he would need to equalize this, at least in villager count. Economically, Anotand's miles ahead.
Yeah, Anotand's looking really good here. And it's the camel, like, the camels, the Desert Raiders. He's got 13 of them. That's a scary number. And now the Yumi Ashigaru can do pretty well into that. The problem is you've also got 9 cataphracts backing up those camels. If I'm LucifroN, I'm scratching my head going, man, like, what's the recourse? How do I navigate this? Because this is a tricky composition to deal with.
And we do see all the dead horses on the floor here. The bodies of those who remain. Horses now will run a little bit faster, as we can see him finally getting the upgrades and ensuring that his horses will just outrun the others. The camels, though, constantly raiding, and it shows you exactly Anotand is not ready to back down. Oh, and a relic being brought back for LucifroN. This must feel pretty good, but you can see these camels are doing the work they need and idling out a pretty big part of the food economy here, as we see LucifroN struggling for food quite a lot.
Yeah, LucifroN needs to close in. That wall has been nice, but it's not been enough. Leaking in camels, as it were. Good raids on the other side, but the problem here is up front and center. That's a lot of cataphracts. And with the camels behind that, your mounted samurai losing 20% from the debuff. Not great. And Yumi Ashigaru walking right in front of the cataphracts. That was a brave posture. They back up and let the mounted samurai take over, but they really need to try and get onto those Desert Raiders. They're the only real good answer for that right now. And amidst all the cataphracts, it's actually kind of hard to see what is what between that. Taking their pot shots, trying to do what they can. These cataphracts just walking straight down the throat of the base.
And Shinobi's finally being clicked. He was waiting for that cooldown as he used them a little bit earlier. Cataphracts, though, they're not even being focused. You can see he's trying to snipe down every bit of camel he can to make sure that this fight turns a little bit even. Significant portion of this army goes down, but the cataphracts are so tanky, and there's more coming. These Yumis are barely making a dent in them, and you can see the cataphracts are on top. They're destroying everything. There's no static defense actually doing the work here. 18 dead villagers. Anotand says, you tried to make this a reverse sweep, but let me tell you, brother, this is gonna be not gonna be your day for that. So Anotand, he is doing amazing work here, killing so many vills and feeling like he's pretty much got this ready. The problem is just LucifroN has a lot of army here. He could try to counter push, but cataphracts should be able to take it.
I think so, but I mean, at the same time, mounted samurai can't underestimate them, and the Yumi Ashigaru, I'm pretty sure, have been upgraded, and so they're doing normal damage against cataphracts. That's still, paper cuts, but this dive cost Anotand a lot. A lot. All of his stuff is just gone now, and suddenly, even though there's only a couple mounted samurais, it resets the playing field. LucifroN has survived. He's down some eco is the problem. I think that's the biggest takeaway, is now he's down some 12 villagers to what Anotand has done. So he's on the back foot a little bit. He's gonna have 2 of the 3 relics, so not getting the win there. And then the cisterns. I think the cisterns are just really carrying this for Anotand. I don't think LucifroN has gotten enough out of the Atai. I just don't think the food trucks have given him enough yet. Too many of those have been killed and brought down. And now we see Anotand, the result of that is he can make more of those cataphracts really quickly, whereas LucifroN's kind of struggling to keep that number up.
Now, you guys might be looking at this and saying like, okay, well, Anotand, he has got a lot of villagers, but let me tell you guys, he's got even more with this economy of his. All those cisterns, they are making sure that this is just miles ahead. So every moment of breathing room that LucifroN gives him now just puts him even further ahead. And it feels like LucifroN is doing exactly that. He's giving him that breathing room that Anotand will happily take, just making sure that that economy gets even further ahead. So Anotand now ready to build up the cisterns, expanded over the rest of the map. And we have to ask ourselves about the food. So let's go take a quick look at that base of Anotand. Just want to see the farming situation we've got. Now that feels good. That is a lot of oil, ladies and gentlemen, and olive oil, we know, cook with it, it's delicious. Buy mercenaries with it, even better. And Anotand is just doing exactly that. LucifroN, though, he doesn't have that luxury. He's not farm transitioned. He is perfectly stuck in a position where he's desperately clawing at some deer.
Yeah, when the food runs out, bad things ensue. That's just kind of the short in front of it. Really, LucifroN needs to get some kind of damage done. Needs to kind of get himself back into this game. He's got a pretty good massive Yumi, but I'm just really scared about those cataphracts. And Mounted Samurai can hold their own, but needs to get damage done here.
You might be scared of Mounted Samurai, but cataphracts as well. But those towers can quickly turn this game very one-sided. Now, keep in mind, Anotand's ahead, but he wants this little bit of breathing room. The Yumis, they're doing their best at just focus firing what I can in front of them. But now LucifroN, he is trying to do some damage, and he needs to find a significant amount of damage. But the cataphracts, they've got the archers in a little spot, and they don't even need to charge. They're just going to clean up everything in front of the Mounted Samurai, trying to take on the camels, but the camels are doing such a good job.
LucifroN's idling 38 behind this as well. His eco is completely stalled, and now his military is on the ropes. The Yumi Ashigaru are just gone. They're done. So long. Farewell. It's all Mounted Samurai, and that's it. LucifroN, it's in a rough spot, and the food I think is drying up by the second, so I don't know how he's going to maintain this. He's got a pretty good income at the moment, but I'm worried about what the follow-up is.
Oh, and we see the follow-up. The follow-up is an attack by Anotand. Anotand getting a beautiful surround. Ladies and gentlemen, look at those cataphracts. They are killing everything to break off. They're going for the pack of villagers. We might be looking at the samurai, yes. But what's really happening behind all of this is there's a bunch of villagers running for their lives, all dying one by one. The cataphracts doing an amazing job, but we do see those villager numbers falling to the ground. Cataphracts looking for more death, and more death they'll find as Anotand makes his way all the way through to the next round. Beautifully
thought
played.
Thought it would be a 3-0 to start, and then your doggo, the GG dog, came in and said, well, maybe. And LucifroN definitely put this one with a big maybe as he went the distance and almost took it for himself. But Anotand comes back with a vengeance and wins it out, and we'll be moving on to the next round. So, man, what a series by both these players.
Now, it does feel like this set us up for our final series tonight for a lot of action. And guys, that's exactly what we will be getting tonight. One more set to go. And as we can see in the chat, Vortex versus Wham will be taking place next. And now that is a game I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Should be good. Oh, man, I'm still reeling from the back and forth that this series was. What a set. What a set.
Now, seeing a little bit of these drafts, we can see these players have a different mindset when it comes to what is important and what isn't. But guys, we'll be hopping into an interview, so let's get over there.
Hey, congratulations on a well-fought series.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you a lot. It was a harsh series, but it will always a pleasure to win, right? That's kind of shit. And I think it's really harsh to lose, right?
Yeah, I mean, going up 2-0 and then LucifroN almost coming back there. We were actually joking. You wouldn't have known this, but Whammon's dog, we asked her dog on the stream if she thought there was a comeback or reverse sweep was even possible. And the dog gave us kind of a maybe look. What were you feeling when into that last game when LucifroN had brought it back those last two?
I feel like my draft is okay, but I was so scared of Golden Horde. I don't know, like some people playing so very well. It's so I was scared of Golden Horde and went into this matchup. I think my draft was like so much better, but it was really hard. I doubt that he ever played French on Socotra, but just destroyed me. Yeah,
that was a really tough back and forth. We've been seeing Macedonians be banned throughout the entire series, and that was the one game it kind of snuck through, and it still was a back and forth. What is it about Macedonians that top players are so averse to lately that they keep banning it?
I mean, it's really easy to play, right? You just can go easy fast castle and Masridari, like some civs are so easy to play that even at pro level, it's super annoying to deal with them, right? I think like Bees, Golden Horde, Mali, Macedonian, they're pretty easy, right? Because of some stuff like free food, safe food, and yara.
Going in this last game, we're looking at the replay right here. You did a lot of damage to LucifroN's Yatai, dealing with all the food trucks. How important is that to slow down Sengoku?
I think it's fine, but then I lost like 5 wheels and I was like, okay, he lost 2 cars, I lost wheels, and I'm kinda behind, right? Yeah, I don't know, like his raids were so annoying, but I was really lucky to find some damage as well. I feel like if I didn't find damage, I'm dead.
Yeah. How important were the Desert Raiders there? That's kind of a fun play. You don't always see Byzantines using the markets to get those extra mercenaries, but using the Desert Raiders, how much did that help, do you think?
I think it won me game. Like, I think it's a pretty harsh matchup for Beats, but I just went for random shit and it's kinda when it's like match point, it's 2-2, like it's really hard to play and you can be a bit shaky, right? So I just whatever, I don't care. I will do like what my mind wants, and turns out
throw things at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's fine.
Well, congratulations on a win. This was a really, we were wondering if it'd be a 3-0, ends up going the distance, but you win it anyways. Sometimes it's not pretty, but a win's a win. So congratulations. And how do you feel moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was super even serious, and wow. To be honest, it's most happy. I'm like super happy after winning it. Like, for me, it's now best win of my 26th year, right? We'll see how it goes. I think Papi won, right? I don't mind to reach and play versus Papi again, right? He owned me 3-0, so I kinda want to revenge him, right? Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, we'll be looking forward to seeing you play in that one, and best of luck moving forward, and congratulations again on a really good series.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, have a good one.